Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto has tobirama water affinity and would. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by ALEXTWOLF234 and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Ch1. His mask. Konohamaru no Sato, one of the 5 great shinobi villages and the strongest of them at that. It prospered under the will of fire, the philosophy which Hashirama Senju, the Shodaime Hokage, founded the village and all of its shinobi have lived by. It states that the entire village is like a large family and every Konoha shinobi with a will of fire loves, believes, cherishes, and fights to protect the village as previous generations had done before them. Such examples of said ninjas are the Hokages, the strongest, wisest and most respected of all. Their names are forever recorded in the history of shinobi. The first one was Hashirama Senju who possessed a feared Mokuton. He was followed by his brother, the Nidaime, Tobirama Senju, who had such an affinity for Suiton that he could extract water from dry air. The Sandaime Hiruzen Sarutobi, the student of the Shodaime and Nidaime, known as the professor for his mastery over the shinobi arts. And finally the Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze, Konoha's Yellow Flash, the man who sacrificed his life in order to seal the Kyuubi no Yoko into his own son, saving his village while condemning his son to the life of a Jinchuriki. And the man who would set the path for said son to become the strongest shinobi the elemental nations would ever see. It was night time and the only thing one could hear in the streets of Konoha was absolute silence. The Anbu, the elite shinobi force directly under the control of the Hokage, who acted as his sword and shield, went by their assigned patrol area, making sure that the peace the civilians enjoyed in the night wasn't disturbed. How come they didn't notice the Hokage monument being defaced was a question none could answer. Idiots all of them. Thought the defacer. A young teen with a height of 59, 1.80 meters, pretty tall for a 15-year-old. He was wearing a black hooded jacket that failed to cover all of his blonde locks. In the back of said hoodie you could see an orange whirlpool, and if you looked closely you could see that it was formed up by 9 foxtails. He wore black Anbu pants with the ends tied up by the shins with dark blue medical tape, a long-sleeve V-neck shirt of the same color that had an orange stripe in each of its sleeves, and the kanji for 9 in the front. Underneath it he had a mesh shirt and also wore black ninja sandals. Well, not that I can blame them. I mean my stealth skills are pretty much the best in the village. He muttered. But they still should have expected you to do something tonight. Either it be a prank or getting said prank ready. Said a deep voice in the mind of the prankster. After all, tomorrow is the last day you have to attend that stupid academy Naruto. Yes, tomorrow is the genin exam, well at least the one that will show which of us can even become genin. Thought the blonde. Who do you think will pass Kurama? 10 yes only 10 will pass, but I am sure you know who they are. Responded Kurama, or as the village knew him the Kyuubi no Kitsune. The strongest Bijuu, the one who could create tsunamis or break mountains with a swipe of one of its tails. And Naruto definitely knew who the 10 future genins would be and the teams they would form. 9 clan heirs and a civilian. Shikamaru Nara, heir of the Nara clan, son of the Jonin commander Shikaku Nara. A lazy genius with an IQ of 200, someone even Naruto would be hard-pressed in a battle due to his strategic mind. While somewhere 3 steps ahead, Naruto could be from 10 to 20 and Shikamaru, well he normally was from 50 onwards. Choji Akimichi, heir of the Akimichi clan, son of Choza Akimichi. There really wasn't anything he could say about Choji now that he thought about it. He could practically be defined as a peaceful and kind glutton. Don't get him wrong, Choji had the potential to be great, but he would need a rude awakening in order to even grasp that potential. Ino Yamanaka, heir of the Yamanaka clan, daughter of the second in command of the T&I department Inoichi Yamanaka. A rash, loud, dieting and annoying fangirl. The only reason she would had a chance of passing would be her clan techniques. And these 3 would definitely be put together because of the Ino Shikacho rate of success in a capture and interrogation team. Nothing else. Then obviously came the tracking team conformed by Hyuga, an Aburam and an Inyazuka. Following that order we had Hinata Hyuga, possible heir of the Hyuga clan, firstborn daughter of Hiashi Hyuga and older sister of Hanabi Hyuga. She was a docile and shy girl who didn't have the resolve necessary to harm the enemy. Reason why she was the possible clan heir after all they couldn't have a weak clan heir, because as Naruto once said to the Hokage, the Hyuga clan is made up of a bunch of old-minded traditional bastards with a stick shoved so far up their ass, it could probably stick out of their heads Jiji. Then came Shino Aburam, the clan heir of the Aburam clan, son of Shibi Aburam. He had great control over his clan techniques, which focused on the use of special chakra-consuming insects called Kakechu. His weakness like many members of his clan was his low chakra reserves and lack of any kind of taijutsu or bukijutsu. Kiba Inyazuka, clan heir of the Inyazuka clan, son of Tsume Inyazuka and younger brother of Hana Inyazuka. His clan was widely known for their feral natures and the bonds they had with their ninkin. Kiba specifically was a rash, gloating and a foolish bastard. He thought everyone should bow down to him and his whims, especially the girls. Of course he didn't really have any luck with that last one. Finally the heavy-hitting team, or the first response. The one where he could either end up making part of or being paired with the most. The one with 4 possible members. The first one being Sakura Haruno, a civilian girl, daughter of a member of the civilian council. She was just like Ino or even worse, the only difference is that she didn't have any clan techniques and had book smarts with a good chakra control due to her incredibly low reserves. Nothing really worth noting. Then came the Uchiha twins, the prince and princess of Konoha, the 2 only survivors of the Uchiha massacre done by their elder brother, the kinslayer Itachi Uchiha. A prodigy only seen once in every generation, graduated at age 7, Chunin by age 10, at 11 he entered Anbu, and at 13, he became a captain of said organization. Sasuke Uchiha and Izumi Uchiha, the last Uchihas with Sasuke being the clan heir. The son and daughter of Yugaku Uchiha and Makoto Uchiha. Sasuke in his opinion was a cold, arrogant and broody duck-butt bastard with a holier-than-thou mentality. It was always Uchiha elite this and Uchiha elite that with Sasuke. Naruto didn't really remember seeing Sasuke before the massacre, unlike his sister that he had seen sometimes with their mother, so he couldn't really tell if he was always like that or if it was a result of his brother's actions and the villagers' worship over the young Uchiha. His fangirls read as every single female of their approximate age and others with a more pronounced age gap didn't make things better. Izumi Uchiha was, in the blonde's sincere opinion, the better of the 2 siblings. Indeed, she was distant to the point of being called aloof, a little bit cold and completely silent, but she knew there were people better than her in different areas and unlike her brother, she could accept defeat. Like her brother she had a group of fanboys also read as every single boy of their approximate age and some with a greater age gap, but it wasn't like he could blame them. For girl 15 years old she was way overdeveloped comparing her to the rest of their classmates. Well you could call Hinata, Sakura and Ino cute or pretty, Izumi was downright beautiful. She had a heart-shaped face with midnight black blue that almost reached her derriere, long and shapely legs that went on forever, and an enviable mid-D-cup breast. Her full glossy pink lips and obsidian black eyes just made this goddess even more desirable. He may or may not have been a little biased with her description. Not that I could help it. What with being a teenager with raging hormones and a furball bastard who finds it funny to use said hormones to cause me public humiliation, Naruto thought remorsefully. You would also do the same in my position, kid. Replied said furball. Not much I can do in here aside from sleeping and watching what you do. Blame your father and mother for that. But the tired sigh Naruto continued his previous trail of thought. And lastly the 10th future genin, me. The village pariah, the number 1 unpredictable knucklehead of Konoha, the prankster king of hell, the demon brat, the idiotic loser who will never amount to anything. Don't worry kid. Soon you will be able to show the world your true potential. That of the last royal heir of the Uzumaki clan and only son of the Yellow Flash and the Red Death of Konoha, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. The Jinchuriki of the great Kyuubi no Yoko, Kurama. A Fuinjutsu and Kinjutsu master. The one who has greater chakra reserves than most cages. The one who will surpass every single Hokage. The one who never gives up or goes back down on his words. The one who will be known as the Golden Maelstrom of Konoha. Kurama said with pride. And the one I think old man Rakuto spoke of. The child of prophecy, the blue-eyed youth who will be able to name the 9 Biju and frolic among them. The Golden Maelstrom of Konoha. I bet you took a long time to think of that one. Are you doubting my naming skills? Kurama asked. I'll let you know that I am extremely proficient in the art of naming unlike your dad. Hey. I like the name Naruto muttered the blonde. Yeah I like it too fish cake. Replied Kurama with a low chuckle. I really hate you sometimes answered Naruto. Seeing that he had already finished defacing the Hokage monument and that, as the rest of his pranks, this one was an exquisite work of art he decided to call it a night. Well done since it seemed that he had wasted more time in his mind ramblings with the fox than he thought. Still didn't matter, due to having Kurama sealed inside him he got some quite nice perks, like sleeping a small amount of time and it having the same effects of the normal 8 hours. It was a beautiful and tranquil day in Konoha. The birds were chirping, the merchants and adults of the village were ready to start the day, the young infants ate breakfast and got ready for another adventure with their friends in the different schools, and the soon shinobi to be were leaving to the academy in order to learn the magnificent ways of the ninja. Or that was what Hiruzen Sarutobi the Sandaime Hokage had wished for when he woke up. The village was currently in disarray due to a certain blue-eyed blonde prankster he so happened to love like a grandchild. The reason the Hokage monument was defaced. Again. I have to admit it, he outdid himself this time, used the elderly Hokage. The Sandaime had bright red lipstick and purple-toned mascara with one of its eyes closed as if winking. The Nidaime had a perverted goofy grin like that his own student and said student wore quite often. He also had a nosebleed and a pair of Sharingans. Oh the irony. I bet Hashirama-sensei would have laughed, and Tobirama-sensei blushed with rage at seeing their faces like that, he thought with a chuckle. Now, his own rock face sported quite the nice mustache, if he said so himself, and a mischievous smirk coupled with a little golden cartoonish four-pointed star near his eyes. His rock face looked handsome. What almost made him have a heart attack and was causing such a ruckus in the village was the face of his late successor. It was painted spectacularly, like it had come to life. That golden blonde hair and those deep blue eyes he had only seen in one other person, they were painted with such a care that left him speechless. The only thing his successor didn't have and made the pit of his stomach fall was the 3 whisker marks on each of his cheeks. Had Naruto found out about his parents? Did he also know about the Kyuubi? Does he know about the law? These were the only things that went rampant through the Hokage's mind. If he has learned of who his parents were, then what else does he know? I need to talk to him. This could bring serious harm to the village if Naruto were to take actions for the hatred the villagers have shown him since the beginning. The Hokage realized. Nico. Hi Hokage-sama. Came the response of the Anbu captain with said mask. She was a kunoichi with purple hair, and her mask with the figure of a cat was decorated with red lines. I need you to bring Naruto Uzumaki to this office right now. The Hokage ordered. Permission to speak freely, Hokage-sama. Go on. Right now Uzumaki-kun must be taking the test to become a genin, sir. The Anbu said, shouldn't we wait until he finishes to bring him here, after all isn't this his third and last chance, Hokage-sama? You're right, Nico. Alright, after Naruto-kun finishes his exam you are to bring him here immediately. The Hokage stated. Hi Hokage-sama. With that the Anbu captain left to her previous spot and waited for the time to search for the young blonde. After the Anbu left, Hiruzen turned to look out of office balcony and with a drag of the pipe he had just ignited wondered, if you already know about your father Naruto-kun, what else you know? What else have you hidden from the village? He woke up with the sound of knocking on his door. Expanding his senses, he realized that the person waiting outside was none other than Iruka Yamino, his academy sensei. At first Iruka treated him like the rest, with contempt in his eyes, but at the same time he was professional and didn't let his emotions affect his work. He had really appreciated that. As time passed it seemed that Naruto had managed to worm his way into his sensei's heart to the surprise of both. Getting up and seeing that last night's clothes were intact and considering he had bathed last night before going out, Naruto decided to forego changing into new clothes. Well, let's get the last day of this farce started, thought the blonde. In a puff of smoke the tall black-clad blonde teen disappeared and in his place a midget wearing an orange jumpsuit read as monstrosity by the rest of Konoha with a bright grin on his face appeared. I still don't understand why the Henge no Jutsu is so underestimated. I mean, with it we can transform into freaking anything, thought the boy. It's because only you are capable of making said transformations completely solid. In your case the Henge changes from a D rank to an A rank, Kurama commented. As a kitsune I must say I am goddamn proud of you. Why thank you, Naruto mentally replied as he got ready to open the door and continue with his farce. Hey Iruka-sensei, how are ya? Damn pissed off with you, you stupid brat. Hey, don't you dare shout at me, I am gonna be the next Hokage, you know. No you're not if you missed the genin exam because you overslept. Huh? That was today. A sheepish Naruto asked while rubbing the back of his head. Yes it is. And I am going to enjoy watching you squirm through it all, said Iruka after grabbing Naruto's head and picking him up using said head. Tai. Oi, let me down, it freaking hurts. Ah. Is that so? Replied the Chunin with a sadistic smile. Too bad that we are taking the scenic route to the academy then. Oh, and before I forget, we will be talking about defacing the monument later, Naruto-kun. The blonde could only gulp at that. It was already time for the third part of the genin exam, the Academy 3, and with it Naruto's plan of ending as the dead last was coming around perfectly. In the first part, a written test, Naruto had answered enough questions to barely pass. In the second part, the Shuriken Jutsu and Kunijutsu test, he had it quite easily. Iruka's assistant teacher Mizuki team had given him blunt and dull shuriken and kunai. He just needed to use a little of Futon manipulation in some of his weapons, and there, he had the bare minimum to pass again. Now the third test was causing him quite the dilemma. Fail it? No. Come on, I need you to fail it. I said no, besides it's not a need, it's a want. Come on kid, I need to know what he has planned, it could be incredibly fun. I'm not failing this so you can amuse yourself, you bastard fox. Oh please, you will just need to show that old monkey your skills and you'll be promoted. I just said no, you goddamn fox, and shut up already, it's almost my turn. Alright, I'll stop, sheesh, you're no fun, as if I would let you ruin my fun, kid. Next, Naruto Uzumaki. Entering the testing room, Naruto saw Iruka and Mizuki with clipboards in front of a desk filled with headbands. Looking at Mizuki's forced smile, he admitted to himself, I also want to know what Mizuki team has planned, but I won't risk it. My graduation is way more important. What is he talking about, you may be wondering? Well, another of Kyuubi's perks was an advanced sensing prowess. With it you could even sense the negative emotions of others, and for a while, Mizuki's had been really dark. Now Naruto, you must show us the Academy 3 in the next order. Henge, Kawarimi and finally the Bunshin no Jutsu, said a smiling Iruka. Sure Iruka-sensei. Warwick no Jutsu. And with that shout, a completely nude busty blonde with her hair tied up in long pigtails and 3 whisker marks in each cheek appeared in a cloud of smoke. Her appearance caused a large nosebleed to come out of the 2 adults present in the room and a certain scar-faced Chunin to throw his clipboard to the transformed blonde's face. The clipboard hit its target, although to Iruka's surprise it was Mizuki's face who received the blow. Hearing a chuckle and a hand posing itself in his shoulder, Iruka turned around to see the face of the Yondaime Hokage. After getting out of his shock at the perfect transformation of Konoha's greatest hero, the Chunin realized that Naruto not only had made a perfect replica of the Yondaime, he had done it after doing a seal-less Kawarimi and a henge, without the chakra smoke that tended to go with it, and everything at the same time. Seeing the now de-transformed Naruto walking back to his original place and Mizuki standing next to him, Iruka said, "Congratulations Naruto, although you shouldn't have done that first transformation, you did make a perfect henge of the fourth and a seal-less Kawarimi. You should be proud of yourself." Causing a large goofy grin to appear in the orange-clad teen. "Now the only thing left is the Bunshin and you will become a genin." "Alright, here I go sensei. I am really sorry for this kid or not." Now, Naruto knew he couldn't do the normal academy clone, after all his chakra reserves were larger than those of the Hokage. So he was going to do his favorite jutsu of that type, the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. It was an A rank ninjutsu that created solid copies of the user and when dispelled, gave back the original all of its memories. The downside was the chakra cost. A seasoned jonin could very well create 10 of this type of clones, Naruto could create 1,000 without breaking a sweat. What Naruto didn't expect was the bastard fox sending him a mental image. A very provocative mental image of a certain Uchiha. Izumi was on top of a white bed while wearing a light blue bikini, if you could call that a bikini with all the skin it showed. With a mischievous glint in her eyes that promised a lot of pleasure, the teen Uchiha said while reaching for the back of her top. "Naruto-kun, shall we have some fun?" And with that said, Izumi's bikini top fell down. Naruto came back to reality with a jolt when he saw a plume of smoke appear next to him. Out of the smoke came out a half-dead pale clone. But shocked Naruto could only hear Iruka shout at him, "You fail." And Kyuubi's failing attempts to stop his laughter. "Come on Iruka, let Naruto-kun pass, didn't he make an excellent job with the other 2? We could let this one pass," Mizuki said. "You know we can't do that Mizuki, all the other did at least 2 perfect clones. I won't let someone pass if they can't make something as easy as the Bunshin." And with that Naruto left the room, bangs covering his eyes. Outside of the academy, you could see the parents of the new addition to Konoha's forces congratulating them and imagining the great future their sons and daughters had ahead of them. Some others sent not so subtle glances to a certain blonde that was currently sitting in the only swing by that part of the academy. If you were to ask a civilian why they sent so many glances to the blonde, they would answer with, "He looks disappointed and angry. I really don't want to be here if that damn boy were to show his true colors and unleash that. I really hate when they talk about me or look at me like that," thought the scowling Naruto. "Well kid, I think it's because of the scowl. I don't want to hear anything from you right now. Though come on, you like the mental image, don't even try to deny it." "Yes, I did like the image, but as I stated before, refrain from talking to me. I am concentrating in the depressed look I have to give." "You realize you don't look depressed, right? You actually look somewhat murderous and a bit constipated." Hey kid, hey kid, hey kid, guess what? What? The show is about to start." Indeed, looking up he could see Mizuki approaching, a fake smile like always. "Hey Naruto-kun, how are you doing?" "Not so well Mizuki-sensei," said the blonde with a sigh. "It's just after this, my dream, my hard work and my promises, are they really over? Were they useless? Did everything I said were just empty words?" The same Mizuki was shocked after that answer was an understatement. "Well, who cares if the demon can have deeper thoughts than Ramen and becoming Hokage, this actually makes everything easier. You must understand Naruto-kun, Iruka just doesn't want you to get hurt. You see, he has experienced the pain of losing your friends and teammates in battle and just wishes that you don't suffer the same fate. After all, our job line is very dangerous." "You are right sensei, but you know I'd do anything to become a ninja." "Well, if those are your honest thoughts Naruto-kun, I will tell you about a little secret exam that will let you become genin if accomplished." "Really, come on sensei, what is this test?" "I'll do it, you'll see." Hook, line and sinker, thought the 2 shinobi and the fox inside one of them. "This has been way too easy," thought Naruto. "Tell me about it," replied Kurama. "Knowing you, I won't need to tell you to copy everything in that scroll, will I? As if either of us would let this chance pass. The best thing is that in this scroll there must be something nice to add to some of my little Fuinjutsu projects. Indeed, by now I believe your Fuinjutsu skills have surpassed those of your parents, so coping or adding any other to the ones you already have must be easy for you," commented Kurama. "Take that, Minato Kushina, your son at 15 has already surpassed you both." "Alright, let's get started," muttered Naruto while creating 11 clones. Okay guys, 10 of you will start copying the scroll, while number 11 will read every jutsu and dispel itself once he finishes with that. I'll see what jutsu I can work out while Mizuki arrives. The original blonde stated. I should have definitely asked for the meeting time, thought a bored blonde. It's been what, 6 hours? 5 hours 43 minutes and 25 seconds. Stated Kurama, but who's counting? As Kurama said, it had been already 5 hours since Naruto stole the forbidden scroll from the Hokage tower. The sun had already set almost 2 hours ago, and there were no signs of either Mizuki or any other force sent by the Hokage, who must have surely noticed its absence, to retrieve the scroll. Hey Kurama, should I dispel the rest of the clones? Asked the teen. Yes, it would be for the best. We don't need you getting distracted by one of them dispelling in the middle of the battle, I'm sure will come. Sending a message to the clones for them to dispel in groups of 10, Naruto sat at the base of a tree to go through the memories he was about to receive. Memories of groups of clones each practicing a different jutsu, chakra control exercises, and some sealing methods he now knew thanks to the scroll, were being organized when he felt a familiar chakra signature approaching him. Kurama, could you please finish organizing the memories? I need to prepare for what's about to happen. Alright. I'll try to finish as fast as possible, replied the kitsune. Thanks. Retransforming into the orange-wearing midget, this time looking worse for wear as if having been in a street brawl, Naruto waited for the familiar chakra nature to arrive. While waiting, he felt another familiar, but darker, presence approaching the clearing where he was waiting. Naruto! Shouted a furious Iruka. What have you done? Hey there, Iruka-sensei. I just passed the secret exam, right? I mean, being able to steal the forbidden scroll from the Hokage residence is totally awesome and shinobi-like. Right. Exclaimed the blonde. Secret test. Naruto, what are you talking about? Asked the Chunin. Huh? You know, the secret test. The one that will immediately make me a genin. Mizuki-sensei told me about it, Naruto answered. Naruto, there isn't a secret test, Mizuki lied to you. The face of the blonde fell at that. What? But why would Mizuki-sensei lie to me? Don't believe him, Naruto shouted at just recently arrived Mizuki on top of a tree branch. He is lying to you. In fact, everyone has been lying to you. What do you mean? Mizuki, don't, it's forbidden. It's quite simple, Naruto. It's the same reason why everyone glares and insult you. Started the white-haired Chunin. The reason why everyone hates you, included Iruka, it's because you are the Nine Tails incarnate. Was it? Perfect timing as always. I try my best to serve, answered Kurama. So what's up? But it's simply Mizuki team is giving an evil monologue of how you can't be defeated and dad sealed you in me, making me by default you incarnate. Also how he will give the scroll to Orochimaru and gain incredible strength to destroy Konoha or something like that. Stated in a bored tone Naruto. You know I should go, he seems to be finishing. Now give me the scroll and die, demon. Shouted Mizuki as he sent a barrage of shuriken towards the blonde. How about no? Replied the blonde, and to Mizuki's and Iruka's surprise deflected every single shuriken with a katana he pulled out of his jumpsuit. How did you? Muttered in disbelief Mizuki. What? The fact that I was able to deflect every single shuriken. The katana I clearly didn't have mere seconds ago. Or is it the fact that I already knew about the Kyuubi and befriended him, or that I clearly hid every single skill I possessed because deceit is a ninja's greatest tool? Replied the blonde to the question. By the way, Kurama, what jutsu did my clones manage to master? Oh yes, the jutsu, well kid, your clones managed to learn quite a few, responded the fox. To be more exact, 5 B ranks, one of each of the main affinities. You got Futon, Senkin, Suiton, Sujinheki, Raiten, Jon, Kaiten, Nkamakyaku and Doten. Dorakeki. 3 offensive and 2 defensive, a good combination. Thought Naruto. So my furry friend, shall we test them? You know it, replied with a laugh said Furry Biju. You know, Mizuki team, you are quite the lucky guy, said the teen to the Chunin. After all, you are the first person to ever taste some of my true actual skills. So? Shall we have a retake of the genin test? At that, a plume of smoke enveloped the Jinchuriki, and from it came a tall teenager with medium-length blonde locks that framed his forehead and the sides of his face, like Minato, but a little shorter, and deep blue eyes that promised retribution to those who wronged him. Wearing the previous night's outfit of a black hooded jacket with an orange whirlpool on the back, and blue pants of the same color tied by the shins with dark blue medical tape, a black shirt with a kanji for 9, and a mesh shirt underneath, with black ninja sandals to complete the look. Mizuki took a step back. What? Scared of me, Mizuki team? Laughed the blonde. Scared? Of you? A filthy little demon. Ha ha ha, now Naruto, you should know that a little henge won't change anything, right? Replied Mizuki. A henge, huh? He's underestimating me even after what I have showed him, thought the blonde with narrowed eyes. Well then, should we test the efficacy of this henge? He asked with a smirk. Grinding his teeth at the smirk the blonde showed him, Mizuki sent another barrage of shuriken with a yell. Like last time, the blonde deflected them with his sword. What is throwing shuriken all you know? Taunted the blonde. Don't worry, it's my turn now, and in a burst of speed the blonde appeared behind the white-haired Chunin and sent him tumbling through the air with a well-placed kick. That fast, thought the forgotten Iruka. Mid-air Mizuki turned towards the blonde while going through a set of hand seals. Suitin. Tepndama. Exclaimed the man as he shot a water bullet from his mouth. Let's see you evade that. 5 seconds until it hits, thought the blonde as the water shot came closer with each second. 4 seconds now, how should I evade this? 3 seconds. He is not going to make it, thought Iruka with worry. 2 seconds. Ah. I can do that, realized Naruto. This should be fun, mused Kurama. 1 second. Ha. Take that, demon. Naruto. Shouted Mizuki and Iruka respectively. 0. The jutsu hit Mizuki in the chest and sent him crashing into another branch. That's 2 of the Academy 3, Mizuki-sensei. Informed Naruto to the man standing where Mizuki previously was. Shall I show you some other justices after I perform the bunshin? You know, for extra credit. Impressive, whispered the scarred Chunin as he looked towards the blonde. Standing with a groan of pain, Mizuki gave a shaky laugh. I must say I am impressed, but with just that you won't be able to defeat me, Naruto. That's so? Could swear I was the only one who had managed to land a hit. Oh well, then you won't mind if I raise up the level a bit, right? Asked with narrowed eyes the blonde. At that he summoned out a smooth black mask with the form of a fox from a seal inside his jacket. You know, I was expecting to use it in a real fight, not against someone like you. But well, you have started to really piss me off, so I plan to end this in a really painful way for you. Stated Naruto as he put on the mask, blue marks appearing in it. Let's see how you deal with this. Disappearing in another blur of speed, Naruto appeared again behind Mizuki's back. Unfortunately for the blonde, the Chunin had been ready for this and stabbed the blonde with a kunai through the chest. To his surprise, the stabbed blonde burst into smoke. Kage Bunshin. Mizuki realized. So you know the Kage Bunshin, huh? He asked while trying to pinpoint the teen's location. Mizuki's answer came in the form of a kunai coming from his left, which he barely dodged, followed by a knee to his face coming from his right side. Proving again his speed, Naruto appeared above Mizuki and delivered an axe kick, which sent him plunging into a pair of clones who were going through different sets of hand seals. Ton. Repshma. Exclaimed a clone while the other shouted Suitin. Tepndama. After the wind-enhanced water bullet found its mark and left him sprawling on the floor, the man turned into a mud version of himself. An earth clone, thought Naruto as he started to continuously jump back in order to dodge an assortment of shuriken and kunai that came from above. Mizuki kept firing kunai trying to corner Naruto into a tree. And as Naruto kept getting closer to the tree behind him, a smirk appeared in the Chunin's face. That is until the blonde jumped into the tree and disappeared into its shadow. How? Thought the panicked Chunin as he kept looking for the blonde. To the left. No. Right. No. Front and behind. No. That leaves above. The answer is below, heard the Chunin as he felt his ankles being grabbed and dragged through the branch. Wonder why no one ever thinks below, Kurama stated. People tend to instinctively rely on the ground below their feet, Naruto replied. Fortunately or unfortunately, the feeling of being dragged down the branch stopped to let the feeling of dread enter Mizuki as he realized that the blonde left him stuck inside the branch. Now then, Mizuki team, I could possibly end this by knocking you out, but that would be too simple, wouldn't it? Voiced Naruto as he crouched near Mizuki. You know I really dislike traitors like you, but seeing as we always had such a delightful friendship, I have decided to give you a second chance of sorts. Standing up, Naruto started to walk away only to stop for a moment to say, oh, but don't get me wrong, I am solely giving you this chance to test some of the jutsu I acquired from the scroll. At that, Mizuki found himself falling to the floor. Regaining his balance moments before landing, he saw the masked teen land some distance from him. You're going to regret letting me free, brat, snarled Mizuki. Sorry you said something. Replied Naruto with boredom. Mizuki's response was to dash towards the blonde. His first punch was a feint directed towards the blonde's face, followed by a foot sweep. Naruto jumped and kicked Mizuki in the face. Stumbling from the force of the kick and feeling blood dripping down his nose, Mizuki stood up in order to lunge towards the blonde. Only to find him in front of him ready to strike with a palm strike. 2 hits in the chest. 1 in each shoulder. The blonde spins toward the Chunin's back. 3 more hits. He spins again and faces the Chunin. Mizuki struggles to move but finds his body numb and heavy. What did you do? Asked the man. Standing in a thinking pose and making a humming sound, Naruto asked, well, you know about the Hyuga's Jyuken, right? Well, it's the same concept. At this, the almost forgotten and scared Chunin made a gasp of surprise. But not only is it a secret family style, you need the Byakugan for it. Exclaimed said Chunin. Well, it's not really such a hard style to understand, Iruka-sensei. Using palm strikes, they force their chakra into the tenketsu of their opponents and block their chakra pathways. As for the Byakugan, I replaced it with a combination of this mask and the wonderful possibilities that the sealing arts offer, but no one uses. stated the blonde with sheer. I mean, if it can seal a giant nine-tailed demon fox into a baby and help someone teleport, then surely there must be thousands of other possibilities. But that is enough chit-chat, don't you think, team? Asked Naruto as he turned towards the still struggling man. It's time to test those jutsu I said before. Ah. Don't worry, I will not power them up to a point that they'll kill you, just to the point you wish they would, said the blonde with a smile that only radiated coldness and contempt. Akuro Naruto is coming out, thought the Biju. Now, I think I have an idea on how to use them all and how they should react with each other in the end, but I am not sure if it'll work, so any possible last words? Damn you, you filthy demon. Not the best I ever heard. Stated the blonde. Alright, here we go. At that, 4 clones appeared by his side and after arriving to their positions started going through several hand seals. Oten. Dorikeki, stated one of the clones as a corridor out of earth appeared around Mizuki. Suiten. Sujinheki, exclaimed another clone while he created a wall of water in front of the Chunin. But the Raiten. John, the third clone, electrified the wall of water. Everything ready, boss. Said the clone who used the Doten Jutsu. Alright, let's go. Stated the real one as he and the clone next to him said Fukton. Senkin Kaiten. Kunkamikyaku. With that, the flames enhanced by the wind entered the earth corridor and hit the electrified water wall. The result was a hot cloud of steam with electricity running through it and the screams of pain of a certain traitor. Cutting the chakra and letting the jutsu end, Naruto waited to see the results of his attack, and as the steam dissipated, he was pleasantly surprised to see it had gone well. If they take him to the hospital immediately, that is. Maybe I went a little bit overboard, mused the blonde as he took of his mask. A little bit? Asked Iruka with a shaky tone. Giving his sensei a bashful grin, the blonde faced the trees and exclaimed, "Hey Miko Nichin. Could you take him to the hospital? I'm sure Hokage Jiji is waiting for me at the tower. Bet he is going to ask a whole lot of questions after seeing this little show." With that, the purple-haired Anbu made herself known and went to collect the body of Mizuki. As expected of the most unpredictable shinobi of the leaf, "I'll be waiting to see what else you can do, Naruto-kun," said the female before vanishing in a shunshin. With a cheeky smile, Naruto turned towards Iruka. "So Iruka-sensei, did I pass?" Iruka just smiled. Ch.2, the Hokage. The trip to the Hokage tower was fast. Shunshin fast. As in, Naruto took hold of Iruka, performed a shunshin to the floor where the Hokage's office was and entered, bypassing the shocked secretary and Anbu guards. Entering the Hokage's office, Naruto exclaimed in a loud voice, "Hey Jiji." "Hello Naruto-kun, how are you in this fine evening?" The Sarutobi clan head replied to the greeting. "You know, beating up traitors, learning jutsu, showing that I am actually skilled in the shinobi arts." "Nothing you don't know already with that little spying orb of yours," answered Naruto with a sly smile. Chuckling at the blonde's response, Sarutobi pulled out his pipe and ignited it. "Well, that just means we have a lot to talk about, don't we?" said the man. "A conversation I actually hope to have much later," he thought. "Iruka-kun, you are dismissed. There's no need for a report since I saw everything, and a list of genin teams will arrive to your house before the week is over." "Hi Hokage-sama," responded the Chunin. "See you in a few days, Naruto." "Goodbye Iruka-sensei," said the blonde. Waiting until Iruka left, said blonde turned towards the man he saw as a grandfather and said, "I'd prefer that our conversation was only heard by us, Jiji." Understanding Naruto's request, the Sandai made a sign and the 4 Anbu stationed in his office left. After Hiruzen performed a half-ram seal, a sealing formula ran across the room before glowing blue and disappearing from sight. The room had been silenced to anyone outside of it. "Kit, yeah, I sense him too," Naruto replied. "Well then Naruto-kun, shall we start?" asked the Sarutobi with a smile. "Sure Jiji, but can I ask you something first?" Naruto said as he neared the Sandaim's bookshelf. "I guess so," replied the man with confusion. "In the temple where the sacred fire resides and the leaves come and go, how many silver masks watch from the shadows?" asked the blonde as he reached for the pouch in his back. Narrowing his eyes, the third Hokage answered 4. In a flash, Naruto's hand that had previously been in his back reached into the bookshelf and pulled out a masked man, a tag attached to his chest. After making it so that the man lied face up in the floor, Naruto asked, "So who is the 5th? That mask, it seems that you have just captured a root agent, Naruto-kun," replied Hiruzen. "Root? An organization that I had disbanded many years ago, though it seems my teammate didn't heed my orders." "Mummy man, huh?" said the blonde as he took a scroll and sealed the man inside. "Doesn't surprise me. His chakra is quite dark." Chuckling at Naruto's lack of respect towards any authority while receiving the scroll, he said, "Now Naruto-kun, even if he looks like that, he is still an elder." Locking the scroll he received in his desk, the man continued, "Besides, we still have things we need to speak of. For example, that tag, what does it do?" "It is a knockout tag I designed. When it makes contact with the target, it uses the chakra used for its activation and disrupts the nervous system in a way that said target will fall unconscious," he replied, sitting at the chair in front of his grandfather figure. A useful tag to say the least, and even more impressive that you have designed it. Now, about Danzo's agent and what you said about his chakra, can I assume that you have her sensing ability? Yes, you are indeed full of surprises, my boy, he said with a sigh. Since we have already started with your abilities, let's go down that path. So tell me about your skills, Naruto-kun. No, pray tell me why not. A ninja should always maintain his skill repertoire to himself and only show what he can do in the exact moment he needs said skills. Besides, who is to tell you are not going to go around telling what I can do? Good point, Naruto-kun. Sadly for you, I am the Hokage and I can order any of my shinobi to do what I think is necessary for the village's security. In this case, you telling me about your skills. Too bad I failed my third try in the exams and couldn't become a genin, in other words a shinobi. Since I don't have a headband, that means I am a civilian and don't need to respond to you in the way a shinobi should. Opening one of his desk's drawers, Hiruzen pulled out a black-clothed headband and threw it to the blonde in front of him. Congratulations, Naruto-kun. For your help in capturing a traitor and impeding him in stealing the forbidden scroll of seals, you are now promoted to genin. Now speak. After tying the headband in his forehead, the blonde's face turned serious. Hi Hokage-sama. He said, taking said Hokage by surprise. My current skill set is made up of the Academy 3. Hiruzen's palm met his face. What do you want from me, Naruto-kun? He said with desperation. If you promise to maintain my skill set in a need-to-know basis and at least A-rank secret, I will give you a general idea of my skills. Fine, from this point on whatever is said will be an A-rank secret in a need-to-know basis. Thank you, Gigi. Replied the blonde with a smile. Since you already know about my Fuin and Ken, let's go with Nin, Tai, Gen and other abilities. Naruto murmured. As you saw, I am able to perform various high-rank jutsu of all elements. My taijutsu, I believe, is between high chunin and low jonin. My genjutsu is non-existent at the moment, although thanks to the fox, I am not affected by them either. Finally, I find it easy to create or replicate techniques if I have the sufficient knowledge. Oh. And I am good at multitasking too. He is almost a jack of all trades, a prodigious one at that. I can feel a headache coming. Thought the monkey summoner. Quite the general description, my boy, he said to the blonde. Sorry Gigi, but I don't trust who may be hearing us, responded said blonde. Sighing, the sandame conceded with a valid fear. Looking at the blonde in front of him, the Hokage steeled himself for their next topic. Naruto-kun, you clearly know about the Kyuubi. Kurama, the blonde interrupted. Yes, Kurama. Also, according to you, not only have you met him but also befriended him. Am I correct? Asked the older man. His only response was a nod. So I may also be correct in assuming you know who your parents were. Right. I know my ancestry up to my great-grandfather, at least my mother's side. Dad's, I know who his father was, but nothing more. Are you certain of this information? Certain to the point I can declare myself as the true prince of Konoha. The one who has direct blood ties with 3 out of 4 Hokages. Yes, not only is he the son of Minato-kun, who was the 4th, we also have to consider Kushina-chan's lineage, pondered Hiruzen, remembering the pact the Senju and Uzumaki had done on Hashirama's time. If I remember correctly, one of the stipulations was that after Hashirama-sensei and Mito-sama married, the firstborn daughter had to remarry into the Uzumaki clan, to be more specific the Uzukage, or one of his family members, back in Yuzu. So when she met the age requirement, Kiyomi Senju married Arashi Uzumaki. 9 years before the Second Great Ninja War started and brought the demise of Yuzu, they had Kushina-chan. Naruto-kun, how do you feel about being the vessel of the Kyuubi and the son of Minato-kun and Kushina-chan? Narrowing his eyes at the question, Naruto responded with, you are asking if I hate them or if I am going to seek revenge against the village, aren't you? Making the Hokage flinch. Don't worry, I am not going to do anything to harm the village or the ones who reside in it, even if I should. He sighed as he looked at his father's stone head through the window behind Hiruzen. My dad and mom, they died protecting me and the village they loved so much. Kurama actually showed me their last moments, you know. He said with a small smile. They sealed Kurama in me, knowing that I would be able to harness his powers and protect the village with them. They believed in me, a tiny little baby who didn't know what was happening around him, who would never be able to meet his parents and would have to endure the darkness that is the life of a Jinchuriki. His gaze turned towards his clenched fist as he continued. They named me Naruto after the book written by Dad-sensei, Jiraiya, and probably hoping I would become like the protagonist. He looked Hiruzen in the eyes. The bond that was created that night and the ones I have made up to this point don't leave me any other choice. I will grow strong to protect those I hold dear and the things they hold dear. I will endure the path I have chosen so that those that come after me can walk it safely. Because to never give up, to never flee, to never go back on my word, that is my ninja way. He couldn't breathe, no matter how hard he tried, his body didn't respond to any of his commands. The only thing he could do was stare at the people behind the blonde that he considered as his surrogate grandchild, people long dead, but that had such impact on him and others that they would never fade from memory. People he never thought he would see again, but this blonde teen had made it possible. The first, the second and the fourth stared at him. But how? Why? Was it because they were blood related? Because the blonde was the great-grandson of the first and great-nephew of the second? The actual son of the fourth? No. Naruto's eyes, he realized, those deep blue orbs of his that were oh so similar to those of his father, the light no, the fire that shined in them, was the same as those of the people standing behind him. A fire he had seen in the mirror so long ago and that had diminished to embers with all the pain that came with the duty he had. The will of fire. That which he hadn't been able to see so clearly in anyone after the death of his successor, it was there. Shining, burning, blazing in the eyes of one so young, but that knew pain and loneliness more than any other. Yes, if it's him I can certainly rest assured that Konoha will be safe. Thought the Hokage. An impressive way of the ninja I must say Naruto-kun. He thanks Gigi responded the blonde. Now, I would like to continue talking, but it is getting quite late and tomorrow you have to do your ninja registration process, so let's end it here for tonight. If you say so Naruto responded. But before I leave I have a question Gigi. You know elemental Kekkei Genkai right? How do they work? Although surprised by the question, if his eyebrows indicated, the man answered well, they are the ability to combine two or more elements to create a new one. Shouldn't he know this? The man thought. So like multitasking two elements right? Naruto answered back with a fox-like grin. Well then bye Gigi. He said as he ran through the door, disappearing from the man's sight. Thinking about the last question the blonde teen had given him, a sentence the blonde had said resurfaced in his mind. Oh. And I am good at multitasking too. Hiruzen Sarutobi choked. Naruto was currently patiently waiting outside of the Hokage's office, something that had the Hokage's secretary astonished. His finished registration papers in his hand. Now, he would have waited for the week to almost end in order to get them, but an Anbu had shown up in his doorstep to tell him the old man wished to see him. Since he had already become a shinobi he had to cut off his pranking, no way a respectable shinobi would go around pranking. Although it could make a great training exercise now that he thought about it. Besides it was the Anbu's and Hokage's fault by not giving him a set meeting time. They couldn't blame him. Naruto-kun you may enter, said the secretary Satomi Hirata. One of the few people he actually liked. She and the librarian, a grandma by the name Aoi Taniguchi, were two of the few who treated him nicely. When he wasn't being annoying of course. Thank you Satomi-san, he responded with a smile before entering his grandfather's room. As she watched him enter her boss's office she smiled, I bet you would be proud Yondaime-sama. Ah, Naruto-kun. Welcome, said Hiruzen. It's been 2 days Gigi. What's the matter? He said, setting in the desk his shinobi registration papers. Taking the papers and examining them the Hokage said, well first I was going to remind you of the registration papers, but you seem to have already taken care of that. Nice picture by the way. You thought I was going to use makeup or something like that didn't you? Can't really say I didn't, can I? Don't worry Gigi, I won't blame you. Now was that all? Said the blonde. Setting the papers down Hiruzen straightened himself out. No, the real reason why I called you here was to first inform you about the inheritance your parents left you. Inheritance? I thought their house was destroyed in the Kyuubi's attack. Yes that is true. However Minato-kun was always a bit on the paranoid side and made a contingency plan where their house be destroyed by outside forces, he said, taking out 3 scrolls of the same color from his desk. The first 2 had the Hokage and Uzumaki swirl respectively, while the third was bigger than the others. The first one and biggest has all of the possessions of their house sealed in it. No I don't know how he did it, he said stopping Naruto from interrupting him. However I can't give it to you until the conditions set in the others are met. Now, this one contains Minato-kun's, and this one Kushina-chan's last will, and if I am correct a letter to you, he finished giving said scrolls to Naruto. Unfurling the scroll with the Hokage seal Naruto started reading. My name is Minato Namikaze, 4th Hokage of Konohamaru no Sado. This is my last will and testament. In the event of my death the following stipulation shall be placed. The Namikaze bank account, our house and my belongings, will be put under the name of Kushina Uzumaki. However in the case Kushina has also died, the following must be done. The account shall be placed under the name of our only son Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. In case he hasn't reached the age of 17 or has become Chunin by the time, the account will be managed by Hiruzen Sarutobi or Jiraiya of the Sannin. If the house where Kushina and I live remains intact, they will also be put under the name of Naruto for him to live in. If a caretaker for Naruto is needed the responsibility of choosing him or her will fall under Hiruzen Sarutobi. All of my possessions including scrolls, weapons and any other material value shall be given to Naruto once he reaches the accorded age or shinobi rank previously set. If by the time of my death I haven't trained or chosen a new successor, the Hokage mantle shall be given to Hiruzen Sarutobi once again. At the end of this will is a letter only to be given to Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze once he reaches the age of 17, Chunin rank or has found out his lineage. This will has been witnessed by Hiruzen Sarutobi, Jiraiya of the Sannin and Kushina Uzumaki. Signed Minato Namikaze, Yondaime Hokage. As he was about to unseal the letter his dad left him, the Hokage stopped him. Wait, Naruto-kun, I wish for you to read the letter your parents gave you in your own house, as it is a private matter concerning only you. If you say so, Jiji, Naruto responded. Unfurling the second scroll with the Uzumaki swirl engraved. My name is Kushina Uzumaki, Red Death of Konohamaru and last royal member and clan head of the Uzumaki clan of Uzushiogakure, no Sado. This is my last will and testament. In the event of my death the following stipulation shall be placed. The Uzumaki bank account, our house and my belongings, will be put under the name of Minato Namikaze. However, in the case Minato has also died, the following must be done. The account shall be placed under the name of our only son Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. In case he hasn't reached the age of 17 or has become chunin by the time, the account will be managed by Hiruzen Sarutobi or Jiraiya of the Sannin. If the house where Minato and I live remains intact, they will also be put under the name of Naruto for him to live in. If a caretaker for Naruto is needed, the responsibility of choosing him or her will fall under Hiruzen Sarutobi. The same shall be done to the Uzumaki clan estate and the Uzumaki Mask Temple. All of my possessions including scrolls, weapons and any other material value shall be given to Naruto once he reaches the accorded age or shinobi rank previously set. Finally, Naruto shall receive the Uzumaki clan head position and council seat once he is of appropriate age or chunin. Naruto can't be forced to be a part of the Clan Restoration Act following the conventions made in the alliance of Konoha and Uzushio. In the case Naruto decides to make part of the Kra, he shall be allowed to choose who and how many wives he will marry, and said wives will be protected under the laws of Uzushio, as was agreed. At the end of this will is a letter only to be given to Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze once he reaches the age of 17, chunin rank or has found out his lineage. This will has been witnessed by Hiruzen Sarutobi, Jiraiya of the Sannin and Minato Namikaze. Signed Kushina Uzumaki, clan head and last royal member of the Uzumaki clan. As he closed the scroll, a part of his mother's will kept appearing in his mind. The Kra part to be exact. After all, not every day you read about having a legal harem. No way. You can have a harem. And legally at that. It appears so. Go for it. No. What? Why? I am not a pervert. Bullshit. Come on kid, it's a harem. How many times someone tells you to have a harem? Do you know all the different types of girls you can have? More so all the thing you could do with them. Like, at that Naruto cut off the connection. No way was he listening. Kurama explained all of the bizarre fetishes and fantasies the Biju had. Naruto-kun, are you alright? You look a little bit red. I am fine. Are you sure? The Sandaime asked, raising an eyebrow. Don't worry Jiji. He said with a nervous laugh. Well then, the other reason I called you was to ask you about the night you were born. You said Kurama-san showed you your parents' last moments, so I wonder if you would know what happened that night. Why did he attack? Can I tell him, Kurama? I don't see a reason not to do so. Well, he doesn't really remember many of the events, they are somewhat foggy. Whatever he may know will be of enough help, Naruto-kun. He remembers trying to break out of the seal while mom was giving birth, thanks to dad it didn't work. The next thing he knows, he is being extracted from my mom by a masked person with a Sharingan and finally red. After that he found himself fighting you, then being teleported by dad's Hiraishin and finally being sealed inside me. So the real culprit was a masked man with a Sharingan, he sighed. Why did the Uchihas had to be so troublesome? So Naruto-kun, is there any other thing he could know? Naruto hummed and thought, remember anything else? No, but his chakra felt familiar. It was as foul as Madara's but not quite the same. He says that the masked person's chakra felt familiar, foul and similar to Madara's, but different in a way. That he sensed that chakra in the village before. No, but in Kushina's seal I was way more restricted. Naruto shook his head, he was more restricted in mom's seal, so he can't really tell. I see. Well, nothing we can do about that, but at least we have more information about that night than in the last 15 years, Hiruzen said, smiling towards the blonde. You can leave, Naruto-kun. He was interrupted as the door slammed open and a small figure launched him a weapon. A shout coming from the assailant, this time for sure. Die old ma. Konohamaru Sarutobi was sure he was going to get the old man today. His dream of being recognized by everyone and getting the hat was imminent. So when he entered the room and threw his wooden shuriken at his grandfather accompanied with a victory statement, he didn't expect a blonde to deflect it and shove him towards the wall with an arm at his neck and real kunai aimed at the middle of his eyes. He was scared. Oh gods, was he going to die? He was too young. He still had to realize his dreams. Become Hokage. Get recognized by everyone. Oh gods, please. If I am going to die, let him kill me before I piss myself. Any more and I won't be able to hold it in. Naruto-kun, he heard his grandpa said, thank the gods. You can stand down, he is not a threat, although I hope this will deter him from trying this again. He fell harshly to the floor. Are you sure, Jiji? He heard the blonde say. How dare him? Who did he think he was? The old man was his old man. He lifted his head to see the bastard who dare try and steal his grandpa. Shit. The guy looks so cool. How could he compete with that? He even has a headband. This guy is a ninja. His coolness point are doubled. So who's the brat? Konohamaru heard the blonde asked. My grandson Konohamaru. The blonde hummed as his gaze went back to him. Yes. A chance. Heh. Not so great now that you know who I am, huh? Oh man, here we go, thought the Hokage. Naruto's eyes narrowed before he picked up Konohamaru by the collar of his shirt. As their faces met, the door once again slammed open, this time the form of a black spectacled man entered. Seeing the position his young student was in and who was holding him, Ibisu shouted. Put down the honorable grandson, you ruffian. Ignoring the man, Naruto continued to glare at the small brunette. Listen well, brat. I don't give a damn who may be your grandfather, if you take that attitude with me again, I'll pummel you into the ground, he said before turning towards Ibisu. Here your brat, and subsequently throwing Konohamaru across the room. Oof. Well then Gigi, I will take my leave. Goodbye Naruto-kun. Regaining his breath, Konohamaru glared at the door before turning towards his grandfather. Hey Gramps, who the hell was that? That Konohamaru is Naruto Uzumaki, someone I would recommend you not messing with since he acts on his words and doesn't really care about status. Naruto Uzumaki, don't concern yourself about him, honorable grandson. I Ibisu can confirm that socializing with that sort of people will take you down a path of misery and regret. But do not worry, since I am an elite instructor that has taught many future Hokage candidates and can show you the shortcuts to become Hokage. Ibisu, you're still here? Heh. Konohamaru left jazzing after Naruto-kun. You should hurry if you want to find him. Hi Hokage-sama. Boy, what? Are you really going to let that thing follow us the rest of the day? Normally I would tell you it's a he, not in it, but this is too much, isn't it? Do something, it's creeping me out. Alright, he mentally said before stopping, a square rock with eye holes stopping behind him. Naruto suddenly pointed to his left towards an alley and shouted, look. Over there, it's Naruto Uzumaki. The box turned aware. Coming from it, Turning back to where the blonde teen was once standing, a dark cloud formed over the box. How did I fall for that? Was the thought of its occupant. Naruto arrived at his apartment, a thought running through his and Kurama's mind. How did he fall for that? Don't know, but it leaves me a little concerned with the brat's safety. Taking out the scrolls with his parents' testaments, Naruto got ready to read the letters they left for him. Unsealing his father's letter first, the blonde hesitated. Read it, but read it, you need to. Sighing, he opened it. Here goes nothing. Hello Naruto, this is your father speaking, writing. Anyway, if you are reading this letter, it means I have already passed on. So to actually start this, I am sorry. Right at this moment the Kyuubi is rampaging through the village, and as the Hokage it is my duty to protect it, even if I know I won't be able to come back alive. If things turn out as I expect them to go, I will be using the Shiki Fuin to seal Kyuubi and you, my son. If you have taken to seals as your mother and I have, you should know what the Shiki Fuin does and the price it demands. However, if you didn't, it basically summons the Shinigami to take the soul of a being and seal it in his stomach or in a container. Of course, summoning a god such as the Shinigami requires a payment. The soul of the caster, to be precise. So if I fall by the hand of Kyuubi or the Shinigami, know that I leave with regrets. First of all, I have left you with an amount of enemies that will seek you out once they know you are my son. Don't worry, I made Jiraiya-sensei and Sandaime-sama promise me they would protect you. To see your first steps, your first words, your birthdays, your first day in the academy, your genin graduation, your promotion to Chunin and Jonin, the start of your own family and the birth of my grandchildren. I will miss them all. But the first of the biggest regrets I will have is to condemn you to the life of a Jinchuriki. Listen carefully Naruto, this path I have condemned you to is full of loneliness, pain and desperation. But you will be able to endure it, after all I believe in you. Your mother once told me about a conversation she had with Mito-sama. She said once a Jinchuriki is created, they lose a part of themselves, they will be called and treated as weapons or as monsters. They will feel a void that the Biju will try to use against them, and the only way to overcome that is to endure until you find something that gives you hope. It may be love, a friendship, a dream or a goal, but once they find it no one will be able to stop them. So find it, the thing that will give you the strength to overcome anything. I don't have much time left, so this will be my last words to you, and my second biggest regret, for I won't be able to tell them to you in person. Naruto, I love you, and I am proud and happy to be called your father. Signed Minato Namikaze, Yondaime Hokage and proudest father in all of the elemental nations. Tears rolled down his face, running through his whisker marks until they reached the grin he sported. I am proud to be called your son too, Dad. Wiping away the tears, Naruto reached for his mother's letter. Hello Sachi, this is your mother. Since you are reading this, I must have died. I am sorry for leaving you behind so early in your life, but now is not the time for that. As the responsible mother I need to make sure you are prepared for life. First things first, stay away from Jiraiya-sensei's books. Girls don't like perverts, believe me. I am a girl. Find a good woman, preferably like your mom. Don't be picky with your food, a good shinobi cannot live with ramen alone. Or so your father thinks, sure it didn't stop me. But I am on the shorter side, so maybe they do have a relationship. Oh well, not like it's going to affect me now that I am dead, right? Hahaha. Okay, maybe that was a bad joke. Death makes me act weird. Make sure to make some good friends, it doesn't matter if they are few. You just need to have some you can fully trust. Oh. And if anyone dares to bully you, make sure to beat them up. I wasn't very good at it, but keep up with your studies and practice your ninjutsu hard. Remember that everyone has strengths and weaknesses, so don't get too depressed if you can't do something well or right away. Now about our clan, well, it's just you now, I guess. I never really met any other Uzumaki, so I assume we may be the last. Anyway, not only do you form part of the main house, you are also the only grandson of the last Yuzuka Jirashi Uzumaki, my father, so that makes you the direct successor to the Kage position, since we were more of a kingdom than an actual hidden village. Now that I think about it, this also makes you a daimyo. As the name says, we lived in an island surrounded by whirlpools. It was destroyed by the combined forces of Iwa, Kiri and Kumo. The army of Kiri had sent 45,000 members, Iwa had 55,000 members, and Kumo had 63,000 members. 163,000 enemies against Yuzu's 10,000 shinobi, counting the genin, and its 6,000 civilians. By the time I had already been chosen to succeed Mito-sama in being the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, so I wasn't present to see the battle. Sadly, when Konoha received the news of the invasion, it was already too late. None of the Uzumaki, shinobi or civilian, seemed to have survived. However, the enemy forces didn't leave unscathed, from the combined army only a twelfth of it survived. And when the third shinobi war started, I made sure to eliminate the exact same number who survived from those three countries. In other words, don't concern yourself with vengeance. You have enough enemies with who you are related to make yourself even more. In my possessions there is more information about our clan. Sadly, I must go, the contractions have started to get worse. It seems you are way to exited to come out to consider your poor mom. I can't wait to see you. Naruto, always remember that your dad and I have loved you ever since we learned about you. With an undying love, Kushina Uzumaki, the happiest mother in the world. As he finished reading and sealing them in a safe place, Naruto spoke to Kurama. Kurama, yes. Tomorrow we'll up my training. Can't let down mom and dad, right? Heh, don't forget you can't let me down too, kid. I won't accept a weakling like you as my vassal. Weakling? You are looking to the one who will become into Konoha's golden maelstrom. Konoha's golden maelstrom, huh? Kurama said. Shut up, you sounded so sure some days ago, the fox said, ignoring the blonde. I won't let mom and dad down. I said shut up, yet here we are. Almost a week later and without a bit of training done, and why? Because you got yourself an annoying little fanboy who won't leave us alone. It's not my fault he has become obsessed with following me around. At least give the boy some stealth tips. His skill is horrible. Okay. I'll deal with him today. Sheesh, no patience, thought Naruto as he neared training ground 16. It was one of the biggest and for the difficulty to reach it, one of the less used. It was perfect for the teen. No people, with enough space to throw around jutsu without anyone noticing the chakra spikes, and had a medium-sized waterfall and its subsequent river passing through a side ending in a small lake half a kilometer away. It had everything he needed to train. And the place where he was going to get rid of the little 11-year-old menace that was the Hokage's grandson. Prepare to come out now, Brad. Heh. So you realized it was me. Took you long enough though, Konohamaru said, coming out of the square box he hid in. Yeah, about that, I knew it was you since the week started. I thought that if I ignored your presence you would go away, Naruto said. I'll compliment you in your determination, but boy do your stealth sucks. Tsu sucks. Brat, there are no square rocks. Even less with eye holes, Naruto deadpan. Not only that. Remember when you tried to blend with the wooden fence? You had the cloth sideways. As he watched Konohamaru fall to the floor in despair, Naruto decided it was time to give the final blow. Let's not forget when you tried to follow me without any disguise, sneaking behind the lampposts. Your foot and scarf stuck out every time. And when I decided our little playtime was over, Konohamaru raised his head in horror. Not only did you trip with your scarf, but your head landed right in the pile of dog shit. Quite the laugh I had. It's over, was Konohamaru's last thought as he fell unconscious due to shock. Naruto watched as the boy's soul left his body. You think the old man will miss him? Nah. Konohamaru woke up with a groan, all of his muscles sore from lying on the ground for so long. What a strange dream. No, that was a nightmare. Thank God it was only a nightmare. Hey brat. Awake already? No. It can't be. You fainted while we were talking. It was a lie. He was still dreaming. There is no way that he was in a training ground with a blonde teen he stalked this week. To be more exact, you fainted when I mentioned you tripping into a pile of sweet darkness. Ow. And pain. Did he slap him? Don't you faint again on me, brat. We have things to discuss, Naruto said. First of all, why have you been following me? Because I need your help, boss. Help? Boss. I need help to defeat my grandpa. Konohamaru said. Please, boss. To defeat the old man? Yes. Once again, why? I was named Konohamaru after the village. But even though everyone is so used to that name, the only thing they see is the honorable grandson. They never call me Konohamaru and I hate it. Nobody sees me as me. That is why I want the Hokage title. Hey, you're an idiot, replied Naruto. Huh? No one would recognize a brat like you. What? Naruto sighed. The Hokage name isn't something you can get by defeating the old man. That title is given to the one who is recognized by everyone, Naruto said. The one who is chosen must show leadership, intelligence and that he is strong enough to protect everyone, and from what I've seen you are quite stupid, rash enough to put in danger your comrades and way too weak to protect yourself, even less someone else. Konohamaru glared at the floor. But you got courage and an indomitable will. So stand up, we are starting your training. Konohamaru raised his head in surprise. What? You said training? Naruto smiled. Can't have my successor as Hokage being weak, he said before turning back to the field. Hurry up before I change my mind. Hi. It had been 4 hours since the beginning of their training, and Konohamaru couldn't stand up anymore. His new sensei was a slave driver, and the worst was that the blonde was doing a training 10 times worse than his. He wasn't even sweating. Please, no more. Don't worry, brat. You already finished for today. Managing to sit up, Konohamaru turned to the riding blonde, or at least the clone the original left to supervise him. No, boss. What? When you said you were going to train me, you said something about me being your successor. Are you also aiming to become Hokage? Yes. Why? Well, I am a lot like you, brat. I too know the pain of people looking at you without recognizing your existence, so I too tried to become Hokage to make people recognize me. Luckily I met people who recognized my worth and changed my views. Now I aim to become Hokage in order to protect them and make them proud of me. By the way, what are you riding? This is your training regime. Since tomorrow I meet my team and start my ninja duties, I won't be able to train you every day. So I leave you the instructions of what I want you to do. You're the best, boss. The honorable grandson. Interrupted the 11-year-old. What are you doing with this boy? The now revealed Abisu said. He is training me way better than you in becoming Hokage. He training you to become Hokage. Don't make me laugh, honorable grandson. Someone like him would never become someone akin to a Hokage. Much less train one. Said Abisu, pushing his glasses back. Now come. I, Abisu the elite tutor, will show you all of the shortcuts to become Hokage. The shortcuts to become Hokage, huh? Turning towards the blonde, Abisu sneered. Got something to say, boy? Yeah, you are the kind of people I really despise. Boasting about your skills and undermining everyone else. You an elite tutor. Now who is the one making bad jokes? So I can assume you believe to be a better shinobi than I? It's not an assumption, it's a statement. Well then, if you are so sure of yourself, let's see who is better in a little spar, Uzumaki-san. Naruto dashed forward. After nearing the Takubetsu Jonin, he leapt, attempting a flying kick. HMPH. An attack like that won't do you any good, boy, Ibisu said, grabbing a hold of the blonde's foot. Heh, first shinobi lesson. Deception, said Naruto as he went in a poof of smoke. Shadow clone. Was the man's thought as he felt his feet being swooped from behind. He never touched the ground as another blonde clone appeared at his side and performed a Futen. Repshim, sending Ibisu crashing into a tree and into unconsciousness. Awesome. Thought Konohamaru as he felt a hand being placed atop his head. Let that be a lesson, brat, that there are no shortcuts to become Hokage. Looking at the blonde standing next to him, Konohamaru came to a decision that unknowingly would grant him his greatest wish. The boy turned to see 2 blonde clones carrying a tied-up Ibisu. Hey boss, what do we do with him? A clone said. Tie him up in the female part of the hot springs. When he wakes up, cut the rope. Yes, sir. With that, the 2 clones departed. Well, Brad, it's getting late, so let's leave it at this. As Naruto started to leave, he turned back to see the brunette standing still in the clearing. Raising an eyebrow, he was going to ask what happened when Konohamaru spoke. I can't let you be my boss anymore. From today on you are my rival for the position of Hokage. I'll beat you, just wait. Closing his eyes, Naruto smiled. I see, he said before starting to walk again. Well then, I will be waiting for you to come and challenge me for that hat, Konohamaru. As tear welled up in his eyes, Konohamaru could only smile and shout, Hi Naruto Nai-chan. Behind his glass orb, the Sandame smiled at his 2 grandsons. CH3. Team 7. He woke up just before his clock started ringing, signaling the start of a new day. Getting up and scratching his head, Naruto channeled chakra and summoned 2 clones. Alright guys, you know what to do, said the original as they went their separate ways, his own destination being the bathroom connected to his bedroom. As he undressed, showing quite an athletic body riddled with muscles but still being lean and fit, he pondered on the events that would occur throughout the day. opening the shower and waiting for the water to heat thanks to a seal he had inscribed in the shower head. He thought, after that conversation with Gigi last week, there is a possibility that the team placements change, isn't it? As he entered the shower, the fox responded to him, yes. Now that the old monkey knows, there is a chance he will change the teams or even give you a personal Jonin sensei. Although I don't believe he will, if he does you would at least work close with one of the teams. Why? Seeing through your interactions with him, he will place you in a team or with someone capable of managing your training and teammates who will be able to connect with you in a personal level and make sure you have even more bonds in the village. As for the team, I think it will be the same one we originally thought you would be placed in. So the assault first response team composed of the Uchiha twins and possibly the Pink Banshee. But why? I mean, there are many other options for teammates. Yes, but placing you in said team has many purposes. For example, you, as a Jinchuriki and with your heritage, have the possibility of becoming quite the juggernaut. Something you have already proved may happen. The sensei of said team may be one that is unbiased towards you, and even if he is, he would still have to pass the team and orders of the council. No way they are letting their precious Uchiha go to waste, huh? Exactly. Another reason lies within the own reasons used for placing you in a team. They want them to create bonds in order to diminish their flight risk. After the massacre, those two must have some serious trauma and would surely leave in order to get vengeance or power in order to extract it. Even more so with the curse of the Uchiha clan. The curse of hatred, a curse that empowers them to unseen levels in exchange for their sight, minds and finally their lives. Finally, seeing you being the baddest vassal of the great Kyuubi no Yoko, king of Bijuas, controller of blazing flames, the almighty one, the most narcissist fox in history. Silence, puny mortal. Shouted said narcissistic fox. As I was saying, seeing you being my baddest vassal will make them see you as a rival and wish to get stronger. Chuckling at the fox's antics, Naruto stepped out of the shower and went back to his room. Opening his closet, you could see a great assortment of the same clothes with a little variation here and there. All clearly bought from the merchant caravans that came every 5 months to Konoha. I should add seals to my clothes now that I am starting missions. He thought, while getting dressed, I'm sure they'll get damaged and in no way am I giving my money to those civilian bastards. Leaving the bedroom, Naruto entered the corridor that connected his room, the guest rooms and a bathroom to the rest of the apartment. Now one would wonder how come someone as hated as him owned such a big apartment. The answer was quite simple, he owned the entire building. His previous landlord was one of those civilians who had lost someone on the night of the attack and, like everyone else, hated Naruto with a passion. The thing was that he also feared him. Feared him enough to sell the building to the first person who asked about buying it without even looking into the person's record or asking about him. So for a moderate price of 30,000 rim, Naruto, using a henge, bought the 2-story building. A really cheap price. But you had to consider that it was practically in ruins, located in the red light district, and the demon child lived in it. The problem was that even if Naruto managed to get money from the merchant caravans by selling animal hides from the critters he had hunted and some modified seals, he didn't have enough to pay the monthly fee for electricity, gas and water. But as the worthy son of his parents, the answer to his problem came in the form of seals, though it took him some time. The seal array was formed by 4 different seal types that traveled through most of the building, starting in the backyard of the construction. The first seal was the one who powered up the rest of the array and consisted of a natural chakra absorber and storage unit. The seal transported chakra through the building until it reached any of the interrupter seals, at least the ones that needed said seal. These interrupters were connected to the physical version of the seal and were activated by the small amount of kinetic energy moving the switcher handle caused. Next came the chakra nature converter. As its name indicated, it transformed the stored natural chakra and converted it into water, fire, lightning or the needed chakra nature. Finally, as any other type of circuit with its powering energy, the chakra in the seal array was not entirely consumed and needed an output. To solve this, Naruto made it so that the remaining chakra ended in a seal similar to the one located in the backyard, but this time in the building's basement. The one difference between both is that one converted natural energy from the air and ground into different chakra types, and the second one converted the unused chakra into its natural counterpart, releasing it towards the ground and recycling it. Of course, he also had different types of seals running around a part of that one, security ones for example. Passing through the living room and arriving to his dining room, Naruto saw one of his 2 clones setting down his breakfast in the table. After sitting down and starting his meal of scrambled eggs, a piece of rabbit meat, a toast and orange juice, Naruto turned towards his clone and said, "Hey, before you dispel, can you go help the other one in the greenhouse?" "Sure boss," the clone responded. Since no one lived here apart from him, Naruto decided to use the building to the fullest. On the 2nd floor, he decided to have his living arrangements. The master bedroom with a bath connected, 2 guest rooms, a guest bathroom, living room, dining room and kitchen could be found here. A room, which later became the greenhouse, was left unused. The first floor was used for the armory, the library, a study where he worked on seals, and a meeting room where he had placed a round table and 10 chairs. He actually didn't know why he had created the last one. Just when he had placed his plates on the dishwasher, the Jinchuriki received 2 sets of memories. The ending of both being a fully and perfectly tended garden. As Naruto started heading towards the library, the fox on his stomach spoke. "Hey kid, do you plan to train today?" "Nah, it just happens to be my resting day. Tomorrow though, I plan on only doing a bit of warming up before the test." So you plan to go to the academy already?" "Yeah, half an hour early, but at least it will be quiet there." "Well, seeing as tomorrow you won't be able to do your full training regime, I want you to create at least 50 clones and send them to train your chakra control. After all, it will never be too much control on it, considering how your chakra grows every day." Hi, as you wish, Kurama-sensei," the blonde replied. "Oh. Remember to take the bingo book you stole from the monkey's office too. I wish to see which jonin he is going to assign your team." Doing as the demon ordered, Naruto, who had arrived to the library, started searching for the bingo book and any other he wished to read. Deciding to take the tale of the utterly gutsy shinobi, the team left to the academy via roof jumping. It was a while before anyone arrived to the class. The first ones to do so were the Uchiha twins. They were quite surprised to not only see that the blonde dope had arrived there first, but that he had apparently changed his wardrobe. Kurama had loved the expression the duck butt team had, even if he had quickly gone back to his broody self with his typical HN. Naruto though was pleased to see the small blush Izumi sported on her face. Not every day a read never one manages to make the most beautiful girl in class blush. Doing so was a great boost to his ego. As time passed, the classroom began filling with the new genin prospects, not that they knew. Surprisingly, apart from the Uchihas, no one who entered had actually noticed him. Most of the civilians had sat in the front rows. The Uchihas, as he expected, sat at the center of the room. One of the few strategic positions in the class. If an attack were to happen, they had access to any of the 3 exit points depending on the situation. Naruto himself sat on one of these vantage points. He currently sat in the center's last row. Here he had complete view of the entire class and was close to 2 of the exit points. Some minutes later, Hinata Hyuga arrived with the Inuzuka heir and his ninkin through the back door. Unsurprisingly, Hinata and Akamaru noticed him. Kiba clearly didn't. In fact, once he saw Izumi, everything else disappeared for the dog-like teen. "That is going to be his cause of death, isn't it?" "I can already see it," the fox stated last-minute news. Kiba Inuzuka, Casanova failure, gets killed by random Kunoichi. Cause of death. Seduction by enemy. Kunoichi states. "This has been the most degrading mission I have ever performed, and not because it was a seduction mission." Taking out the bingo book he brought in order to hide his smile, Naruto felt the presence of one Shino Aburam getting closer, offering a smile and a Shino to the reserve teen who sat beside him. Surprised that the blonde even noticed him, Shino decided to quench his curiosity of the once orange menace. "Uzumaki-san," he started, "can I ask you some questions?" Turning towards the bug user, Naruto replied, "If they are in my authority to answer, I don't see a problem." "Thank you," Shino said, still a bit off about the new facet the blonde showed him. "My first question is if the book you possess is in fact a bingo book, and how come you are in the possession of one?" "Why?" "Because said books are normally given to chunin rank shinobi and higher. Which leads to my next question. Yesterday we clearly saw how you failed the genin exam due to an incapacity in your side to create a functioning clone, possibly due to your incredibly large chakra reserves. Since you now are in possession of a Hidiate, we can conclude that you went through a situation that qualified you to become a genin. Can you tell us which was it?" "Okay, we can shorten that into is that a bingo book. How did you get it? And you failed the genin test, how come you have a headband?" "Alright, the answer in that order are yes, I stole it from the Hokage's office, and due to security reasons, I cannot answer that question." "Troublesome," they heard from behind them, followed by the munching of chips. Without turning, Naruto responded. "Good morning, Shika, Chimjai." "Morning, Naruto," was the answer from the Akamichi as he and Shikamaru sat at the other side of the blonde, Shikamaru resting his head on the table. Smiling at the duo, the Jinchuriki asked, "You don't seem surprised, Shika, Chimjai." "Well, some days ago Shikamaru told me that you were hiding something and was wondering when you would reveal it. Besides, if Shikamaru says so then I believe him," replied the chubby teen. "I bet you were the reason my dad had to go out so late at night last week, you troublesome blonde," said Shikamaru, joining the conversation. "Well, you have always been the unpredictable one with a love for deception," he said, raising his head. "Plan on showing your skills from now on?" "Some. Can't let them go all at the same time," replied Naruto. "Still, I don't understand why you were hiding them, Naruto," stated Shinji. "Quite simple, Akamichi-san, for a shinobi, deception is one of the greatest tools to have." "Why?" "Because when your enemy is misinformed of your abilities you may take them by surprise and finish the fight easily and quickly," stated the Aburam. "You though," continued the blonde. "Wouldn't be able to do that, Shinji." "Why?" asked said teen. Because we are the heirs of our respective clans, answered the lazy Nara. Since we are the faces of the new generation we have to show our power, he finished. Truly, what a drag. Chuckling at the teen besides him Naruto turned to Chimjai. Another reason it would be pointless my friend is that you are from a famous clan. By now your clan's fighting style is well known and would be useless to hide. But I am an orphan and my parentage is unknown, so hiding my skills will benefit me in the long run. I see, said Chimjai before they heard a commotion coming from outside the class. Turning towards the door they could hear the resounding footsteps of two fangirls. A thought echoed throughout the room. Here they come again. The door burst open and a tangle of purple and pink-clad limbs collided with the floor. Screeches of "I was first" and "shut up Ino pig forehead" with a not-so-occasional "Sasuke-kun is mine" was all that could be heard through the room. As the two continued to fight, they failed to notice the irate Chunin behind them. Regrettably for Iruka, he forgot that beside the two fangirls in front of him, he also had an annoying fanboy in his class. "Shut up you two. I'm talking to Izumi-chan here," shouted Kiba joining into the fray. "Ino Sakura Kiba shut up and sit down," yelled Iruka. As the three scolded teens scrambled to any seat they could find Naruto murmured, "Their teammates are doomed aren't they?" To the amusement of the ones beside him. To the blonde's disappointment that seemed to be the moment Kiba took a notice of his presence. "Oh Idobe. The heck are you doing here?" "This is only for those who graduated," said the Inyazuka with a sneer. Sighing, the blonde just pointed towards his forehead. "See this shiny metal thing my dear mutt? It's called a hidiate and is one of the symbols which shinobi use to identify themselves. Look even you have one," he said causing a round of chuckles and giggles to go around the room. Growling Kiba stood up. "Yeah as if you could gain one normally, so tell me who did you stole it from?" Naruto raised an eyebrow. Laughing the brunette continued, "After all there is no way an orphan, clanless dead last like you could become a ninja. I mean even your parents left you once they knew how worthless you were." Naruto's eyes were shadowed by his hair. The class went silent. Everyone, even Iruka, could only watch wide-eyed at the exchange. "Care to repeat that you filthy mongrel," Naruto said with disdain. The room becoming colder by the second. Kiba stood there with a smirk. "I said that even the whore of your mother and the drunk of your father left you once they saw how worthless you were." "I thought so," Naruto replied, his voice making everyone flinch. The next few seconds would show everyone on the room who was the superior genin. 1 second Kiba was standing by the center of the room, the blonde sitting in the back. The next Kiba was bashed with enough force to crack the wall. Naruto holding him by the throat. "I will only repeat this once Kiba if you dare speak of my parents in such a way once more, when I am finished with you death would be mercy." Naruto released Kiba from his grip letting the dog teen slumped in the floor, a trail of blood coming out of his lips. Without looking back the Jinchuriki went towards his seat, stopping momentarily to shake Iruka out of shock. As the scarred Chunin ran towards the fallen teen, the rest of the students could only send fleeting glances towards the blonde. Checking Kiba for any severe injuries Iruka sighed in relief, it seems he only has some rib fractures. Taking a hold of the teen Iruka turned towards the class, "Listen. I am going to take Kiba to the hospital. In the meantime Izumi. You will be in charge of reading the team placements. Once that is done you'll have a 1-hour lunch and will be expected to come back here to meet your Jonin sensei." Giving the brunette girl the paper with the teams the Chunin left the tension-filled class. As he sat, Naruto turned towards Shino. "Sorry for hurting your soon-to-be teammate Shino. Do not worry, why? Because I would have done the same were my parents insulted in that manner," said the teen. Offering a small smile Naruto turned towards the Uchiha princess, just in time to hear his own team. "Team 7 will consist of Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha." "Yes. Love wins no," interrupted the pink-haired and blonde girls. Giving an uninterested stare to the fangirls Izumi continued and Izumi Uchiha led by Kakashi Haddock. Groans started at the thought of not being with one of their idols. Ignoring them Izumi continued, "Team 8 is formed by Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburam and Kiba Inyazuka. The team will be led by Kurina Yuhi. Due to Team 9 still being in commission, Team 10 will consist of Shikamaru Nara, Chimjai Akimichi and Ino Yamaka, led by Asuma Sarutobi. Finally Naruto Uzumaki, Izumi started, gaining the attention of the rest of the class. Will be given the title of Takubetsu Genin and will be placed under the advisorship of Kakashi Haddock that is all." Rumors started as the students raised to leave. No one daring to actually ask what a Takubetsu Genin was. Waiting for all the students to leave, some trying their best to evade the whiskered mark teen, Naruto opened the bingo book. No use in worrying about his status was Naruto's thought. Arriving to the page of a bearded man smoking a cigarette, Naruto started to read for the Nara and Akimichi. Asuma Sarutobi, high A-rank jounin of Konohamaru and once member of the 12 guardians of the daimyo of Hai no Kuni. One of the sons of the Sandaime Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Has a high affinity for Kaiten and Futon. Known to use chakra conductive trench knives with his Futon affinity. Has a bounty of 35 million rim. Approach with caution. Troublesome, replied Shikamaru, a mumbled thanks coming out of Shinjai. Alright Kurenai Yuhi, said the blonde as he started to skim through the pages. Kurenai Yuhi, low A-rank jounin of Konohamaru. Known as the Jinjutsu mistress due to her powerful and efficient use of Jinjutsu. Has a fire affinity. Approach with caution. Readjusting his glasses, Shino gave Naruto a thankful nod for the information. Finally Kakashi Haddock, started Naruto. Borderline S-rank jounin of Konohamaru. Son of Tsukumo Haddock, the White Fang of the Leaf and student of the unveiled Hokage. An ninjutsu specialist with a high affinity for lightning but is capable to use any of the other affinities efficiently. Known as the copycat ninja and Kakashi of the Thousand Jutsu. If possible do not engage. Well, started Naruto after a moment of silence. It seems we have quite the capable teachers. Capable and troublesome teachers, stated the Nara. In fact I remember my dad mentioning Kakashi once, something about always being 3 hours late or something. Naruto sighed. The day Izumi Uchiha found herself contemplating how her perception of someone could be completely wrong. It had been a normal morning. She woke up early, took a shower, dressed and prepared the day's breakfast and lunch. She then went to class hoping to be placed in the same team as the breedy Uchiha she called family. That's when everything went down the drain. The one she knew as the dead last, the orphan orange-wearing fool, the one everyone in the village glared at, the only one that possibly knew the pain Sasuke and her experienced every day. He sat there. In a tight black shirt that hugged his muscles perfectly. His golden locks of hair framing a beautifully sculpted face, whisker marks adorning and adding an exotic feral look to the blonde. His eyes, his deep blue eyes. She swore she could drown in them had he continued to look at her. Then there was his smile, she had never felt her heartbeat go so fast. In fact, Izumi, yelled Sasuke, trying for the 5th time to get his sister's attention. Huh? Responded the teen, looking around onto her eyes focused on those of the one sitting next to her. Are you okay? You've been staring the floor with a creepy smile in your face, said the male. She blushed at that. Then she turned redder, heartbeat a mile per minute, after realizing what she had been thinking. It was nothing, she replied stuttering. Sasuke looked at her weirdly, concerned for his only siblings, he didn't consider him one anymore, mental health. Regaining her composure Izumi glanced at her brother, steeling herself to ask for his opinion on someone she knew he didn't like. Sasuke, yes. He said taking out another piece of his bento. What do you think of Uzumaki-san? Gulping down his food Sasuke looked at the sky. He may be quite strong. At least strong enough to not get in our way, he answered. She hummed, continuing their silent lunch. Sakura Haruno was a teen with a mission. A mission she would accomplish even if it meant her death. Yes. To eat lunch with her precious Sasuke and shove it in Ino Pig's face. An honorable crusade in the girl's mind. She was ecstatic, after all she had been placed with her one true love. And Izumi to boot. Sadly Naruto Uzumaki was also added to that equation. To be honest she was scared of him. For the blonde idiot who always asked her on dates and acted like a clown to have such strength and speed. The way he handled Kiba, the coldness in his voice, what if it had been her? Kiba was way stronger than her and he was left sprawling in the floor coughing blood. There was no way she would survive if she got in the bad side of that demon. Yes, demon was the right word. She knew ninjas could do impressive things, but what Naruto had done the feeling he gave when he did it. It wasn't human. Maybe her mother was right, she shouldn't associate herself with him. Although now it would be tough. Her musings however stopped when she noticed the Uchiha she searched for sitting beside his sister in a bench. Running towards them she shouted, Sasuke-kun. Let's have lunch together. Sasuke flinched at her voice. His sister, he noticed, rolled her eyes at being forgotten by the pink howler monkey. He thanked the gods for having finished his lunch moments earlier. Standing to face the screeching girl, Sasuke said no. I already ate mine. Izumi, let's go. Nodding to his brother Izumi stood, packing her finished bento into a small bag she had with her and followed him. Though to the duck-butt-haired teen's chagrin, she stopped and turned towards Sakura. Haruno-san, she started. What do you think of Uzumaki-san? Sakura found herself in between a sword and a hard place. She couldn't say she was scared of him. That would make her look weak in front of her Sasuke-kun. With that in mind she said, he is so annoying. He always gets in the way of others, but what can you expect? I mean he doesn't have parents. She didn't notice how the Uchiha twins' eyes narrowed. He can do whatever he wants, if I acted like that, my parents would ground me for months. He's so lucky, all alone, without parents to say what to do and what not to do. That is why he always makes trouble. All alone, she heard Sasuke say before she could continue. The feeling of a parent yelling at you, he continued, is nothing near to what he must have felt. Turning towards the pink-haired girl, Sasuke finished, you're annoying. Sakura could only watch the twins leave, frozen in place. Lunch break had finished, and the Jounin sensei of the teams had arrived to pick their new charges. This had happened almost 3 hours ago, to the dismay of the new team 7+1. Seems like Shika was right, thought the blonde. No kidding, 3 hours of my immortal life completely wasted, responded the fox. What? Do you think because I am immortal it doesn't matter that I waste my hours? I let you know that I. As Naruto cut the mental link with the fox, he felt a somewhat familiar chakra approaching. He couldn't really pinpoint where he had met it, but he knew he did. As the door opened and the visage of a masked man appeared through it, Naruto's feeling of familiarity increased. Picture him with an Anbu mask and you'll know, hinted the fox. Inu? Asked the blonde, and how the heck did you reopen the link? The answers are yes and awesomeness. Well, my first impression of you lot is that you are boring, the jonin said, giving them a nice smile. Meet me in the roof in 5 minutes, he said, disappearing in a shunshin. Naruto was the first to act, imitating his new sensei. He left in a shunshin. Seeing the blonde leave in the same way as their sensei, the Uchihas ran through the door hoping to arrive before the time limit. Sakura stood there, before bolting with a "Don't leave me." Kakashi studied the 4 teens in front of him, his beloved Icha in his hands. He was surprised to see Naruto arrive first, and in the same way as he did to boot. The Uchihas seemed a little out of breath, but they had managed to arrive in time. The pink-haired one though, now that was disappointing. Not only did she arrive 3 minutes late, she was also panting and sweating. It seemed as he would have to actually give an effort to her training. If she managed to pass, of course. Waiting until Sakura managed to catch her breath, Kakashi started. So let's introduce ourselves, shall we? Huh? What do you mean, Kakashi-sensei? Asked Pinky. Raising an eyebrow at the question, he wondered. Wasn't she supposed to be the smart one? You know your likes, dislikes, hobbies, dreams for the future and the like. Oh, why don't you go first, sensei? She asked. Sighing, he started. My name is Kakashi Haddock. I have no desire to tell you my likes or my dislikes, my hobbies. You are still too young for them, and I haven't thought of any dreams, Kakashi stated, causing sweat to drop from the genins' heads. He only told us his name, though 3 of the 4 genin. So, your name is Kakashi Haddock, you like porn, dislike it when people don't let you read your porn, your hobbies is reading porn, and your dream is to participate in one. Am I right? Asked the blonde. You're so uncute, deadpan Kakashi. But since you are so smart, why don't you start? Mr. Goldilocks. Alright. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like ramen, dislike the villagers and certain kinds of people. My hobbies are training and reading. My dreams for the future to become the greatest Hokage and make a certain group of people proud of me. He seems to have grown well, sensei, although his dislike for the villagers may be a problem, thought the Cyclops. Alright, next is Sir Broods a lot. Scowling at the man, Sasuke started. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I like my sister and have many dislikes. Hobbies: training. I don't have a dream, it's an ambition. I will kill a certain man and restore my clan. An Avenger doesn't surprise me, and so cool, were the respective thoughts of Kakashi and Sakura. Okay, next is Pinky, said the man. My name is Sakura Haruno. My likes are, I mean the person I like is, she squealed after glancing at the male Uchiha. My dislikes are Ino Pig, and this time the glance was sent towards Naruto. My dreams for the future are, she said before squealing again. A fangirl, why hast thou forsaken me, Sandame-sama? Despaired the Silverhead. And last but not least, the Ice Princess. Izumi just stared at him for a while. Izumi Uchiha, I like my brother, dislikes are rapists, molesters and a certain law, hobbies, and my dream is to have a family, I guess. She seems nice, at least she is not a fangirl, thought Kakashi with relief. Well, you are all unique and have different opinions, that's good. Placing his hand below his chin, he continued, now any questions? Sakura raised her arm. Sensei, what is a Takubetsu genin? And yes, I should explain that. Well, you see, when a genin has skills more advanced than any of his peers, and there aren't any possible team to place him in, he may given the title of Takubetsu genin. And? Naruto asked. And? How does that title affect me? Oh yes. Since you are not technically part of a team, you can manage your own training and mission intake. Of course, I am here to advise you in any matter and test you to see if you can start higher ranked missions by yourself. I will also accompany you in your first C rank outside the village in order to tell you about any and all proceedings of a regular C rank, and that's about it. So I can go take a D rank now? Nope. You see, tomorrow we will have a little test and you will also need to take part in it. Test? On what, sensei? Replied the fangirl. At the question, Kakashi began to chuckle ominously. Why is he laughing? It's simple, said Naruto, causing the other 3 teens to look at him. Tomorrow we will have the true genin test. The true? Murmured Sasuke. Yes. The one we took in the academy was just to see who had the least requirements to even become a genin. This one will decide if we are to be trained by Kakashi, sent to the genin corps, or sent back to the academy. Worst case scenario, they completely drop you off the program. Isn't that right, Kakashi-sensei? Smiling at the blonde, he said, you are quite correct, Naruto. The only thing you forgot to mention is that the test has a failure rate of over 66%. meaning that only 9, or in your particular case 10 people, will be able to truly become genin. At that, the genin gulped. Well then. Meet me at training ground 3 around 5 am, oh and don't eat breakfast. Otherwise you might just throw up, he said before disappearing in a cloud of white smoke. Well he seems nice, Kurama said. It was 6 when he woke up. Creating 3 clones this time, he started his daily rituals. After showering and dressing, Naruto went towards the dining room just in time to start his breakfast and for the 3rd clone to arrive with the things he would use today. As he ate, the clone started explaining what he brought. So, I brought 2 of the modified pouches, one filled with a set of 200 kunai and shuriken and the other with a 100-meter spool wire, 100 explosive tags, smoke and flash bombs, and a small bottle of soldier pills. A set of sealing supplies and one of the spare ninjas we got while searching the forest of death. As he gulped down part of his juice, Naruto saw his clone turn and look behind him. Moments later 6 ration bars got placed on the table. Turning to face another of his clones, he heard him explain. That is for a mid-battle snack, or most likely for any of the 3 if they were idiots and didn't eat breakfast. Eating up the last of his breakfast, Naruto thanked the clones before dispelling him. Strapping his equipment on, he left his apartment. His destination, training ground 3 and the next step to reach his goals. They had been here for the last 2 hours and Sasuke was losing his patience. It wasn't because his sensei and the blonde teen hadn't arrived or that he was hungry, his breakfast ignored by orders of the former. They were part of it but not the greatest. The thing that was making him tick was the pink-haired fangirl. She just wouldn't shut up and stop bothering. If she wasn't trying to get a date with him she would be pacing, whining on how it was possible for the 2 other males on the team to arrive late. And if she wasn't whining she was staring at him creepily. It made his skin crawl, even more so when she giggled. Is this how it's going to be every single day? He thought, concern for his integrity rising. His mental machinations, however, were interrupted by the screeching of Sakura. Naruto. You're late. Looking up, Sasuke saw the blonde extra member of his team approaching them, his face contorted in a grimace. Most likely by the screech, he mused. Can't you tone it down a little? I am not even late, Naruto said. You were supposed to be here at 5 am. It's 7. The girl replied. Is Kakashi here? He questioned, his face directed at Izumi, who was sitting on one of the 3 posts in the field. His answer the shake of a head. If Kakashi is not here, then I am not late, Sakura, Naruto said, stopping before the civilian born. Besides, if it's 7 then we still have an hour before he arrives. As he passed Sakura and entered the training field he said, while you wait you can do something productive or continue stalking Sasuke. I am not one to judge your duck butt rape fetish. Sasuke paled. Naruto had just finished his warm-up and decided to revise the checklist his furry guest gave him once he arrived to the training field. Alright, let's recheck everything. Learn the terrain of the field and any vantage points check. Search for traps previously laid by sensei check. Disarm said traps before he arrives check. Lay down my own traps check. Observe my teammates to see if they followed all of sensei's orders, the idiots check. Perform a light warm-up before the test check. Call out the perverted stalker, I will soon call sensei about to be checked. So. Shall we begin this test, Kakashi-sensei? The blonde said, causing 3 pairs of eyes to look at him in confusion and a single one to widen. His sensory skills must be quite impressive if he managed to sense me, thought the jonin. No point in hiding then. Appearing in a cloud of smoke with his typical eye smile, Kakashi saluted his students with a yo. Awaiting to see the reaction of his students to his appearance and Naruto's previous comment, he found himself not so disappointed. Well, at least of Sasuke and Izumi. Sasuke's eyes had narrowed at his sight and sent a cursory glance towards the blonde. His sister's reaction was pretty much the same, only that her eyes widened instead of narrowed. Sakura had only screeched. You're late. Well, you see, I got lost on the road of life. His excuse seemed to be unappreciated. Though to his surprise the blonde hummed, well, it can't be helped, it is a difficult road. Smiling at Naruto, Kakashi pulled out a clock from seemingly nowhere. Well guys, this clock is set at noon and once it rings the test will be over. Your objective are these 3 little shiny bells. You must come at me and try to snatch one of them, clearly you must attack with the intent to kill, he explained. But sensei, what if we hurt you? Asked Sakura, worry etched in her face. Smiling at the girl he addressed her question. Don't worry Sakura, I'm a jounin after all. Now then, as I was saying, fail to get one and you will be tied to one of those logs, sent back to the academy, and forced to watch how your teammates eat one of my homemade bentos. At the mention of food, 3 stomachs growled. So Naruto didn't follow my instructions. Seeing the twins of his cute little genin team tensed, readying to start his test, he decided to begin. Alright, at the count of 3, we will only to dodge a ninja aimed at his head. Using a shunshin to get away from the blonde who had attacked from behind him, he deadpanned, start, although you came at me with the intent to kill. Don't you think that was awfully rash, Naruto? I didn't even start the countdown. What are you talking about, sensei? Our enemies won't give us a countdown to start, he said, performing a half-ram seal, and I won't either. Hearing the telltale of an explosive tag activate beneath him, Kakashi performed a quick kawarimi, leaving the log he replaced with blown to smithereens, and 3 genin shocked at the blonde's actions. The sound of clapping was heard to their left, and soon Kakashi's figure appeared from the woods that surrounded them. Well, at least one of you is turning into a magnificent shinobi. Let's see if the rest of you can follow Naruto's lead. 3, 2, 1 start. The genin disappeared. Now Sakura is beneath some bushes. I'll have to work on her chakra reserves, they're pitiful. Sasuke and Izumi hid on the top part of some trees in different sides of the training ground. It's a good choice, they have quite the view of the field, but I had hoped that they would work together, being brother and sister and all that. Naruto, I can't sense him well, isn't that a little discomforting, Kakashi thought, his hand going to his hip pouch. The genin waited, tensed and ready for any weapon the jonin might use. They didn't expect him to take out the orange book from yesterday. Even less for him to start reading without a care. Were Izumi's thoughts. While, you were what a perv, were Sakura's. Sasuke just scowled at the thought of the jonin underestimating him. Meanwhile, in a tree roughly 20 meters away from the others, Naruto conversed with Kurama, 4 clones surrounding him while maintaining a barrier. So what are your thoughts? I don't believe that the bells are the main point of this. If I am correct, they are just the means to set you 4 against each other. If I remember correctly, your father was a believer of teamwork, and he would surely try to instill his belief to any of his students. Teamwork, huh, thought the blonde, watching at the ex-Anbu operative from the safety of his barrier-protected tree. That's going to be hard. So no one is going to attack. Well then, I shall make the first move, dwelled Kakashi, casually flipping to the next page of his treasure. But who should I target first? Decisions. He had been watching the masked jonin, waiting to find any opening, any weakness he could take advantage of, but had found none. It seemed that he had decided to take them seriously after Naruto's stunt. He needed to get a bell for his sister and him, his future depended on it, his goals depended on it, his clan depended on it, his sister's future depended on it. His head turned at the direction where Sakura's scream came from. Turning back to where the jonin once stood, Sasuke's face paled. When did he? Shit. I need to move, he knows our positions. As he jumped back, he saw Kakashi squatting at his left, still reading his orange book. He eyed the jonin as he stood up, preparing himself to fight or bolt out of there. You know, the Silverhead said, in the record Sakura was the second best kunoichi in chakra control, and in the smarts department, just behind your sister, her chakra control was supposed to be impressive, and no genjutsu could retain her for a long time. Yet here we are, with an unconscious Sakura somewhere in the forest trapped in the weakest of D-rank genjutsu. And Naruto, whose skill may well surpass any chunin in the village, maybe even some Takubetsu jonin. And finally 2 Uchiha whose skills report may have well been the product of a biased man to the last 2 members of a famous clan. Maybe, you shouldn't underestimate me or my skills, the brunette said, taking out a pair of kunais, holding them in a reverse grip. He dashed forward. Sasuke's kunai aimed at any unblocked spot they could find. To his dismay, Kakashi dodged every slash, stab and blow he sent his way, but he was getting closer to his trap. A few more steps now. He thought, throwing both kunai, one aiming to make the jonin dodge to the left, the other sent to cut the ninja wire, that would bring him closer to victory. A barrage of kunai and shuriken hurled at Kakashi, every single one hitting its mark. The body of the jonin fell to the ground, unmoving. Taking another kunai, Sasuke slowly approached the body. Clearly expecting the worst. And he was right. As the one body exploded into smoke and became a log, Sasuke felt how a pair of hands grabbed him from the ankles and dragged the raven-haired genin below ground. His head being the only part left above ground. He growled as the jonin squatted in front of him, his ever-present book and eye smile taunting the Uchiha. I hope your sister can show me a better performance. Otherwise the Uchiha clan is in quite a pinch. Well then, goodbye. Sasuke's head slumped in defeat after the jonin left. Not seeing how a small bird disappeared in smoke. After hearing Sakura's scream, she knew they were in trouble. Kakashi probably knew their location since the beginning, and after he dealt with Sasuke, who was the closest one to Sakura, he would come after her. She was the only option since Naruto had vanished without a trace. So it was a surprise to her when the blonde appeared behind her, grabbed her and shunshined them out of her new hiding place. Uzumaki-san, hello. Hello there, Izumi-chan, the blonde said, a smile on his face. I brought you here to ask you some questions. Raising an eyebrow at the sudden seriousness from the blonde, she nodded her head, asked, have you noticed anything strange about the test? Izumi pondered for a while. A strange thing about the test? Well, now that he mentions it, yes. How did they? As her eyes narrowed, Izumi glanced at the blonde. Yes, there is something strange, she responded. It is difficult to believe that a newly minted genin could be able to face a jonin and win, she said, blushing when her stomach growled once again. Chuckling, the blonde took out one of his ration bars and gave it to the teen. It is impossible for a genin to take a jonin, but what about a group of genin? Her eyes widened at that. Teamwork, yes, Konoha is best known for its impressive teamwork and it has been the thing that helped us win the 3 great wars. The blonde head snapped to his right, the memories of a clone showing him the results of Sasuke's fight with Kakashi. Turning to Izumi he said, "We are running out of time, Kakashi has already dealt with Sasuke. Izumi, can I count on you to convince your brother of helping us?" She nodded once again, determination bright in her eyes. "Good," he said, "creating 2 clones. I need you to go and help Sasuke with one of my clones, he will tell you the plan, the other one will go and free Sakura from the genjutsu Kakashi put her in. And you?" "I will go face Kakashi." She woke up sweating, her mind running a mile per second with the thought of an almost dead Sasuke. Her head turned everywhere looking for the broody teen only to find his blonde counterpart in front of her. 3 inches away, to be more precise. She tried to scream, but the hand in her mouth prevented it. "I'll remove my hand if you promise to not scream and hear me out, okay?" She nodded. He removed it. She tried to scream. This time the cold metal from the kunai he held to her neck stopped her from doing so. He gave a sigh, kunai still poised on her neck. "Listen, this test has a hidden meaning and it is teamwork. You following here?" Sakura nodded. "Good." He pocketed the kunai. "Are you willing to help me?" She looked down. Help him? She didn't want to, he scared her. Besides, what about Sasuke-kun? Don't take her wrong, she knew her one true love would probably pass the test, but if she helped Naruto and they got a bell each, what would happen to Izumi? She would be sent back to the academy, and while she would be on the same team as Sasuke-kun, he would probably hate her for taking away his sister's chance. But at the same time, if she couldn't get a bell, all her chances with her beloved would be null. What with her being on the academy again and the male twin training and doing missions. What's worse is that he could be sent to a mission with Ino or any other sly bitch and fall into one of their perverse plans to take him away from her. The horror. She couldn't let them, but what to do? Inspiration hit her. If I find Sasuke-kun and Izumi-san and tell them the meaning of the test, we could probably take on Kakashi and end up together, and without Naruto to boot. She looked up. No. 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 Why would I work with someone like you? You probably just want to get me alone in a team with you and try to seduce me. It won't work, my heart and soul belong only to Sasuke-kun. So get out of my way, you worthless demon. She left running, looking for the twins. Eyes narrowed at the running female, he muttered, "Fine, like we needed someone like you." The blonde clone dispelled himself. He had been waiting for the genin's next move ever since Naruto's chakra signature had reappeared next to Izumi's. It seemed his sensei's son had managed to realize the hidden meaning of the test if Izumi's and the clone's current destination was any indication. But enough of his current speculations, the blonde was getting near him after all. Can't let him take advantage now, can he? So came out to play? You could say that if you consider me beating you up as a game, Naruto responded, a smirk on his face. Would you look at that, we got a comedian in the team. You know what we call comedians in the ninja business? Competent. Good looking. I bet there is a list. Nope. We tend to call them easy kills. Sorry, did that hurt your feelings? Kakashi asked. No, don't worry. But you know what is going to hurt. That explosion. After Naruto finished his sentence, Kakashi felt a pair of arms and legs encircle his chest and waist. Looking back, he saw a second blonde. A single word echoing in the field. Boom. Izumi heard an explosion. What was that? Uzumaki-san, the dope. Izumi nodded, he was the one who came up with the plan and he is facing Kakashi right now. Another nod. TCH. I won't let him have all of the glory. Hurry up, Izumi. Izumi glared. The debris cleared, revealing the remains of a log. Naruto sighed, it seemed that his sensei really liked the Kawarimi. In other words, dealing with you is going to be a pain in the ass, isn't it? Normally one wouldn't tell that to their possible teacher, but you aren't a normal one, are you? Everyone has a little bit of craziness in them after all, said the blonde, turning to face his opponent. I think we should stop with the banter. Why? Time is running out and I want to test myself against someone of your caliber. Is that a good enough reason? Alright. The silver head said before appearing next to Naruto, a knee ready to impact the teen's face. Naruto crouched, letting the jonin's knee pass overhead and letting the blonde enough reach to catch the leg. Grabbing the appendage, he spun and threw the jonin some feet away. So he started taking me somewhat seriously, thought the blonde. Can't let him down now, can I? Naruto dashed. 2 clones appearing at his sides. The left clone was the first to engage, he jumped and did a spinning kick. Kakashi stepped backwards and then jumped as the right clone tried to sweep his foot. The original fired kunai at the airborne jonin, only for him to create a clone that sent him out of the way. Turning while in the air, the jonin fired some shuriken, dispelling the blonde clones. They dashed at the same time, only for an exchange of blows and kicks that were blocked or dodged to happen. They jumped apart. You are quite skilled. Enough to beat a chunin and a takebetsu jonin that may be underestimating you, Kakashi said. I think I've been holding up well against a jounin taking me seriously, Naruto replied. Taking you seriously? Kakashi asked. Naruto felt a foot connecting with his stomach and lifting him off the ground. As he fell to the ground clutching his stomach and gasping for air, he saw Kakashi crouch in front of him. You know Naruto, you should always believe your opponent is holding back. It is okay to banter and try to anger your opponent in order to put off their game, but when your own arrogance rears up bad things tend to happen, Kakashi said as he stood up. Naruto weakly raised his head to glare at the one-eyed jounin. I would be a bad teacher if I didn't correct it. It's a bonus that the way to correct it is to beat you up, he said with his trademark eye smile. And so Kakashi did. He kicked the blonde in the face. As Naruto sailed backwards, the jounin rushed forward. Getting beneath him, Kakashi performed a mule kick that sent Naruto upwards. Sunshine to the same height as the blonde, he grabbed both of the teen's legs and started spinning. After getting enough momentum, Kakashi let the blonde go. As Naruto flew through the air, Kakashi once again sunshine towards the blonde. Joining his fists atop his head, Kakashi swung down and struck the back of his student's head. The crater with a battered up blonde was the result of Kakashi's first set of attacks. They had arrived while they exchanged blows, Sasuke seething at seeing Naruto fighting in the same level as Kakashi. He was about to jump into the fray when the jounin decided to show his true skill. It was terrifying. The jounin was massacring the blonde in such a way that left the twins shaking in fear. After all, if the blonde had been able to fight him in equal grounds when Kakashi had still been holding back to the level he used against Sasuke, how could they stand a chance? Sasuke had been easily defeated and Izumi knew she wasn't as strong as her brother. They were doomed. As Naruto was sent flying again through the clearing, with a definitely broken nose, Sasuke realized that it didn't matter if they were in totally different levels. He was in a goddamn Uchiha, and an Uchiha never stood down before an enemy, they were the elite, he was an elite. Besides, Izumi had said that the test was teamwork, so if he managed to work with a dope, everything would be fine, right? As he saw Kakashi approaching the blonde, he started going through hand seals. Jumping out of the bushes, he shouted, Kaiten. Kakaku no Jutsu. Seeing a large ball of fire approaching him from his left, Kakashi jumped back before taking out a kunai to block the shurikens thrown his way. Impressive for a genin to make a Kakaku of that size. Let's see if he can manage until Kyuubi's healing factor lets Naruto fight again. Taking out two kunai and holding them backwards, Sasuke dashed. Kunai clashed with kunai in a test of strength. As he felt the jounin apply more force to his kunai, Sasuke went for a leg sweep. Kakashi jumped and kicked Sasuke in the face, sending the brunette away. Only for him to perform a flip mid-air and send another barrage of kunai and shuriken. Dodging backwards, Kakashi felt the bark of a tree at his back before blocking a new set of shuriken. As he started to advance, he felt strings cut through his jounin uniform. Looking to where Sasuke was and seeing him go through hand seals, Kakashi knew he had to get out of there. Kaiten. Ryuken no Jutsu. Said Sasuke as the wire he had in his mouth set on fire, rushing towards the immobilized Kakashi. As he watched a fire taking place, Sasuke felt a presence behind him. Turning to see Kakashi swinging a kunai, Sasuke couldn't help but curse at his lack of awareness. He knew Kakashi would dodge his jutsu, so why didn't he prepare for it? Now he could only watch as the Cyclops dispatched him. Only for a ninjato to block the kunai mere inches from his face. Seeing the blonde holding the ninjato struggling with the join's kunai, Sasuke dodged backwards. Rummaging through his back pouch, he realized he had used all of his shuriken and all but one of his kunai. As he pulled out his last kunai, he felt a small ball and a plan formed in his head. Naruto. Heads up. Said Sasuke launched the kunai. Seeing the kunai heading his way, Naruto managed to notice the small ball attached to it. Disengaging Kakashi, the blonde jumped away just in time to dodge the exploding ball. Standing next to Sasuke, he asked, did Izumi tell you about the test? Yes. She also told me about the plan, but with Kakashi taking us seriously, I doubt we will manage to successfully do it. Only thing to do is to try, right? Naruto replied, unsealing his mask and wearing it. HN. The Uchiha replied, a smirk in his face. Cheeky bastard, Naruto murmured, watching as Kakashi stared at them from the other side of the field. Alright, let's do this. At that, the two teens dashed at the Silverhead. Naruto was the first to arrive and proceed to attack with his ninjato. The jounin jumped to evade a low swing, Sasuke used Naruto as leverage and did a knee strike. Kakashi blocked it with one hand. He used the other to hit Sasuke in the gut. Naruto slapped his free arm into his left leg and Kakashi's teeth gritted at the pain and numbness that followed. Using his other leg, Kakashi placed it into the blonde's shoulder and jumped back. He needed to make distance. When he landed, his leg buckled. He created an Iwa Bunshin. As the clone left to fight the two teens, Kakashi started examining his leg. It was numb and he couldn't feel his chakra moving through it. Momentarily revealing his Sharingan, Kakashi looked towards the blonde. His hands were coated with chakra. So he dealt with a Gyuukin strike or something similar. He gathered chakra in his palm, he had fought against Hyugas before, and even if he didn't have their finesse to unblock his chakra points, he could still do it. It would hurt, but it'd be worth it. As he was about to press his chakra-coated palm to his leg, Kakashi had to dodge a kunai. It seemed as Izumi decided to join in, and she wasn't going to let him regain any mobility. He stood up. Although he didn't show it, his leg was screaming in agony. Kakashi looked towards the other two. They seemed to be gaining advantage over his clone. To be honest, he expected it. While Iwabunshin were durable, they did not possess the full capabilities of the original. He had to defeat Izumi fast. If the other two finished his clone and regrouped, he would have a hard time fighting them in his current state. Kakashi dashed towards Izumi. She jumped and rolled out the way. Regaining her bearings, she threw a group of shuriken. He took out a kunai and blocked. He caught one of the blocked shuriken and shooted it back. Imitating him, she blocked it with a kunai. Kakashi used kawarimi with the shuriken. He swung with the blunt edge of the kunai, his only thought being knocking her out. Her eyes widened, the only sound she heard was that of her pumping blood. Memories flashed by. The red and tear-filled eyes of her brother, the growing pool of blood under her parents, the realization, the desperation, the burning in her eyes, her brother in front of her, with the blunt edge of the kunai ready to take her out. Her eyes turned red. A single tomo in each. She bent backwards, hands touching the ground and her back in an arc. She continued the movement and kicked his chin, the kunai flew out and he stumbled backwards. A handstand, a leap, and she was standing once again. She may not be as physically strong or fast as her brother, but she was flexible and could activate her Sharingan. Although her brother didn't know about the second. Kakashi watched the team before him. He was surprised that she activated her Sharingan. But that could wait, he really needed to take her out now, the clone was reaching its limit. Deciding to forego the pain of his leg would feel, Kakashi dashed at an even higher speed. Her eyes widened. The Jounin had practically teleported in front of her, her Sharingan couldn't keep up. He striked. Izumi landed some feet away, blood dripping from her mouth and nose, her ears also ringing in pain. She tried to stand up, but everything spinned and she ended kneeling. She could see the blurry image of the Jounin approaching. As he stood up before one of the two females of his team, Kakashi raised his hand and readied himself to knock her out. He swung down. It was grabbed. In the place of the female Uchiha now stood the Uzumaki. This wasn't his day. Naruto extended his palm and with a shout of Futon. Repashu sent Kakashi flying backwards. Into an expecting Sasuke. Rushing forward, Sasuke jumped to meet Kakashi, kunai ready to cut the string that held the bells. Kakashi saw him and managed to avoid the kunai. Unfortunately for him, it was cut by another kunai courtesy of Izumi. Sasuke tried to reach for the bells, but was backhanded by a twisting Kakashi. The Jounin managed to grab the bells. An alarm rang through the clearing, the test was over. "Well, it seems I win," said Kakashi. Standing to meet the faces of the teens and showing the bells in his hand. "Are you sure about that, sensei?" replied Naruto, chuckling. At that, the bells transformed into a clone of the blonde and decked Kakashi in the face before dispelling. The Jounin glared at the bell holding blonde while grasping his nose. A speck of blood staining his mask. "This definitely isn't my day," said the silverhead as he started going back to entrance of the training ground. "Come on, follow me." His reply was a female groan, a male noise of annoyance, and a still chuckling blonde. They arrived to a tied-up Sakura to one of the posts. She had glared at the Jounin when she saw him. After all, the man, or at least a clone, had left her tied up and alone. At hearing the snickers coming from the blonde, she turned her glare to him, only to pale when the glint of the bells reached her eyes. "Well then, Naruto, you managed to get the bells, so you decide who to give them to." Sakura bowed her head in defeat. Naruto would surely give the other two bells to Sasuke-kun and Izumi. She knew she would. All her dreams of being with her precious Sasuke-kun, of him saving her from an enemy ninja and proclaiming his love. Of making a family with him. Of hearing him say he loved her. "I'll give one to Sasuke." Sakura closed her eyes as tears threatened to spill. "And one to Izumi." They were over. She felt cold metal touch her forehead. "And the last one is for Sakura." "Eh? Did he just said?" "Well then, congratulations, you guys are officially Team 7. Sakura raised her head in surprise to meet blue eyes. "Eh? What did you say?" the pink-haired teen asked. "I need to make it clearer," asked Kakashi before sighing. "Congratulations, Sasuke Uchiha, Izumi Uchiha and Sakura Haruno, you three are officially recognized as Team 7. She looked at the Uchiha twins, their eyes also showed surprise about the blonde's decision. "But what about Naruto? What about him?" replied Kakashi. Is he going back to the academy?" "Why would you ask that, Sakura?" Well, he just gave me his bell, that means he lost the test." Looking at the faces filled with confusion of the other two teens in his group, the Jounin asked. "What are guys talking about? Did you forgot the team assignments?" Team 7 is composed of the Uchiha twins and Sakura Haruno. Naruto Uzumaki was given the title of Elite Genin, and I was chosen as his Jounin advisor. He is technically not part of Team 7, he is his own one-man cell. In other words, I don't need the bells, said Naruto. But even so, why, after what I told you, why would you give me one? Because I am a merciful god, because I am better than you in all ways, because Kakashi wouldn't have accepted a two-man cell, because even though you are a waste for the human and shinobi resources you can still have a use. What? You are one of the beings in this world capable of turning Sasuke into a paranoid, whose thoughts revolve around when will you jump and try to rape him. I can't let a chance like that go to waste, can I? Said Naruto. From then on Sasuke rued the day he didn't manage to capture those bells. 4. Departure. The first times. This is Golden Kitsune, confirm positions. This is Black Yukiana, in position. This is Pink Bee Banshee, in position. Why do we need the nicknames? This is Ducky Tengu, the question is why the heck is the dope in charge? Mama, this is Silver Cyclops, the answer to that is to prepare you. In the future you will have missions with other teams. You may be placed in a team with a more experienced person who will lead you, or in one where you will be in charge. In case of the former, you will need the experience of following someone else's lead. And the nicknames? Asked Sakura. Those are practice for missions where our identities must remain hidden, responded Naruto. I understand the need for this type of practice, but why is he in charge? Simple Ducky, because it is rare for the five of us to take missions together. Besides, I didn't want to come up with any nicknames. Now that he thought about it, Sasuke realized that this was the second time they had done a mission with a blonde, actually the second only thing they have done with a blonde since they became Team 7. The only other times he saw Naruto was when he came to ask Kakashi for a spar while they did team training exercises. The Jounin would leave a clone with them and disappear with the teen. It infuriated him actually. Why did the Jounin concentrate so much in the blonde? He was in Uchiha. Kakashi was supposed to train him. How would he kill that person if he only received team exercises and useless D ranks? Things needed to change. Well then, should we go to the Hokage Tower now? Asked the blonde after a while where no one talked. But what about the mission? Inquired Sakura. Well, Izumi has been playing with Tora for a while now. Sakura turned to see her female companion. As the blonde had said, Izumi was crouched in front of Tora, cattail in her hand. Turning to where her teammates were and seeing the looks two of them were giving her, she asked, "What?" Team 7 plus Naruto Uzumaki returning from the capturing Tora mission, said Kakashi as his team stood before the Hokage. "Good job and welcome back Team 7, replied the Hokage with a smile. "Do you plan on taking another mission, Kakashi-kun?" Turning to see the teens that were currently watching Tora's owner, Madame Shijimi, crush the life out of the caddy, responded, "Sure, why not? Well then, we have babysitting for a council member, grocery shopping at the neighboring town, helping out with the potato farm, a crash and wait Tora." Were heard before he continued recapturing Tora. "No. I won't do any more of those degrading missions," yelled Sasuke. "Sasuke," reproached Iruka standing up from his seat. "You are just a rookie genin, how dare you speak to Hokage-sama like that?" Lifting up his hand, the Hokage stopped Iruka from continuing. "I understand that these missions are quite degrading for you, Uchiha," said the Sarutobi as his killing intent started to flood the room. "But I am the Hokage and you a lowly genin. So you will do whatever I want. Understood?" The occupants of the room were silent. The pressure the man who only seemed like a caring grandfather was emitting right now was definitely monstrous. No one was unaffected. "Well, he does have a point, Jiji," came the voice of Naruto, a bead of sweat dripping down his face as the Hokage's gaze focused on him. "Explain, Naruto-kun." "Well, he is one of the two last Uchiha. As such, he should be sent out to show that his clan is not dead and that Konoha is still strong enough to not worry about sending him out on dangerous missions." Raising an eyebrow, Hiruzen decided to decrease his killer intent. "Pray tell, Naruto-kun, what is the real reason behind you defending the Uchiha?" Flinching, Naruto gave a wary smile, so the old man hadn't missed that. "Ah well, the ruse is up, I guess," he said before turning serious. "Hokage-sama, due to Team 7 completing the required 35 D-rank missions, I, Naruto Uzumaki, wish to request a conjoined C-rank mission with them." Closing his eyes and taking a drag out of his pipe, the Hokage thought about the blonde's request. Indeed, in the past month and a half, today to be more exact, Team 7 had finished the required missions in order to do a C-rank. Naruto had finished them quite a long time ago, but couldn't do his first C-rank mission without his Jounin advisor. Such a dilemma. He wanted to make the Uchiha earn his place by making him do D ranks, maybe some E ranks, but he needed Naruto to gain experience and even more strength than what he had right now. The reports that he received from Jiraiya were unsettling. He gave a sigh, exhaling smoke. Naruto's needs far exceeded the Uchiha's need to learn his place. "Kakashi-kun, is Team 7 ready to take a C rank?" "I don't see a reason not to," replied the Jounin. "Well then, we have a mission that should be good enough for them. Please bring in Tazuna-san." After some moments, the door opened, revealing an old bearded man with glasses and a bottle in his hand. With his entrance came the stench of alcohol. "This," started the Hokage. Is Tazuna-san, and he is this mission's client. After taking a swing of the bottle, Tazuna looked towards Team 7 and Naruto. Huh? What's this? I asked for ninjas, you know. Not a bunch of kids. Are you sure they will be able to protect me? I mean, look at the short one with zero fashion sense. Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura and Izumi looked at each other to see who was the shortest. Sakura, realizing it was her the old man referred to, tried to lunge at him, only to be stopped by Kakashi. Let me at him. I'll kill him. Calm down, Sakura, you can't kill your client, well, at least until he pays, said Kakashi in monotone. Izuna gulped. Coughing to regain the attention of the group, the Hokage said, Team 7 and Naruto-kun, your mission will be to escort Tazuna-san back to his village, wave, and stay with him until he finishes completing his bridge. He then turned his attention towards the other old man. Do not worry, Tazuna-san, Team 7 is one of the best genin teams we have, add to it that Naruto-kun, the blonde, is an elite genin, and then you'll also have Kakashi-kun, who is one of our strongest jounin. Your safety is ensured with this team. If you say so, Tazuna replied. We will depart tomorrow morning since it's already too late to depart now, he said before leaving. Sighing, Kakashi turned to his team. We will meet tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. in the gate. Bring anything you would need for a long-term mission. Dismissed. They had gone out of the Hokage's office and were going down the corridor when it happened. Naruto swiftly grabbed Sasuke by the collar of his shirt and pushed him against a wall, making the other team grunt in pain. Naruto. Sakura exclaimed beside a wide-eyed Izumi. What the heck, dope? That is what I was going to ask, team. The other three reeled at the anger in the blonde's voice. The heck you think you are talking to the Hokage like that? You truly are a fucking idiot. Did you even consider what could happen after your little temper tantrum? What could happen to the rest of us? He yelled before letting Sasuke fall down into a slump. Consider yourself lucky that we are in Konoha and that I needed to actually do this mission. If we were in any of the other village, Uchiha or not, you would been severely punished. Who knows what the old man would have done had I not intervened. But that he left, leaving behind 3 stunned genins. It was 1 minute before 6 when Kakashi arrived to the gate. Naruto was currently speaking to the 2 chunin guarding the gates, Kitetsu and Izumo. Izumi and Sakura were standing beside a drinking Tazuna, and Sasuke was brooding and/or glaring away near a tree. A normal sight. If one didn't count the oppressing tension in the air, the nervous glances Sakura and Tazuna were giving, and that the Uchiha Saiyan's glare was directed at his other male teen student. It seemed that something happened between his cute genin team and his as equally cute blonde charge after the debriefing. Oh well, nothing unexpected. Yo. All ready to go? He asked, raising his hand in salute. He received 3 nods and turned towards the last teen, Naruto. Yes, I already finished with the paperwork so we can leave whenever. Good, then you 4 open up your bags and show me what you brought for the mission. I'll see how prepared you truly are. Sasuke went first. In my backpack I have a few shuriken, a spare set of clothes, a sleeping bag, 3 days worth of ration bars, camping equipment like a plate, cup, knife, fork, spoon, a tent and basic toiletries. In my thigh pouch I have 30 shuriken and in the back pouch I have 40 kunai, 5 explosive tags and 10 smoke bombs. Good work, Sasuke. Izumi, your turn. I have the same as my brother minus the smoke bombs and adding 3 spools of ninja wire and a first aid kit. Good, Sakura, you're next. The teen in question gulped, knowing she was going to be scolded. Her pack and that of the Uchiha twins had practically nothing in common. I have 20 shuriken in my thigh pouch and 35 kunai in my back pouch. And in your backpack? Asked Kakashi. I have 3 sets of clothes, makeup, a brush, a sleeping bag, a spare set of ninja sandals, a tent, and my basic toiletries. Kakashi sighed. Listen, Sakura, you are now a shinobi. You are now considered an adult in the village, and as such you must learn when and how to act. This may be a simple C rank, but outside this gates anything can happen. Next time actually bring things you will need for the mission. She nodded with a sad expression. She glanced at the backpackless Naruto and found relief that she wasn't going to be the only one scolded. Naruto, what did you brought? Said Kakashi. The blonde reached towards the inside of his jacket and produced 5 medium-sized scrolls and a small one. I brought 5 modified storage scrolls, 1 has camping, hunting and trap-making equipment, 1 is for spare weapons I may acquire, 1 holds my few ninjutsu supplies, 1 has food ingredients and some bottles with water storage seals inscribed in them, and the last one has extra storage scrolls just in case. The small one has a first aid kit, chakra pills, blood replenishing pills, bandages and the like. I have a ninjato and 2 modified pouches. The one in my thigh has a set of 100 shuriken and 100 kunai, while the one in my back has another 100 kunai, flash and smoke bombs, explosive tags, a spool of wire, and finally some paralysis tags. Izuna whistled. It's never bad to be over-prepared, is it? Kakashi asked with an eye smile. Well then, let's leave. Hi. Was the response of Team 7+1. Once again, my name is Tazuna and for the rest of this mission you should protect me with your lives. It had been a few hours since they departed and the genin were, to put it in simple terms, bored to death. Any excitement that leaving the village promised had been crushed by the unchanging scenery before them. Izumi turned her attention from the unchanging trees beside her towards her teammates. In front of the group and directly her was Naruto. After him came Team 7 with Sakura to the left and Sasuke to the right of Tazuna. Their sensei following in the rear. She heard Sakura ask Tazuna something but decided to ignore their talk to watch the blonde before her. She was curious about what he said after yesterday's debriefing. Gathering her courage, Izumi left her position and walked beside the blonde. Uzumaki-san, hello. He raised an eyebrow before smiling. What can I do for you today, Izumi-chan? It's about yesterday. You want to know about what I meant, the part of us being involved, right? A nod. He turned towards her. What your brother did falls into the insubordination category. Ultimately the consequences would have ended on Sasuke or Kakashi. If it fell on Sasuke, since the idiot is a genin, he would have been suspended, forced to do D or E rank missions until the Hokage saw fit or sent back to the academy. And if it fell on Kakashi-sensei? Asked Izumi. It would be infinitely worse for him. The best thing that could happen to him would be a suspension, he sighed. What Sasuke did could be seen as Kakashi influencing the team against the Hokage or the leaf itself. Kakashi, Sasuke and us would then be put on probation. There would be Anbu watching us 24/7 to see if we hold any grudge or dislike towards the village. If they found the smallest of evidence on one of us disliking something from the village, it could be used against Kakashi as a sign of treason, and after that the only hope for him and us would be the Hokage giving us mercy in the form of a swift death. I see. There is also the possibility that Sakura, you and me would have been pardoned from all that drama, and they would have simply made us into a new team or placed in the genin reserves. The latter would have seriously hindered us from progressing, but I'm sure you'd manage, Izumi-chan. He finished with a smile. Ink dusted her cheeks and his smile turned into a grin. Any other questions? She nodded again. Uzumaki-san said something about modified pouches and scrolls. Oh, those, well, as I said, they are modified versions of the normal ones you may find in any store. Yes, I was the one who modified them with seals. She hummed. Example. Remember the water bottles I mentioned? Well, in the bottle cap I inscribed a storage seal in it and then sealed a good amount of water in it. Now when you add chakra to the seal, the bottle will be filled. Then the pouches and scrolls are also able to hold more than normal. Uzumaki-san, would you sell them? Right now, no. She gave him a confused stare. I have indeed sold some seals, normal storage ones, but this I wouldn't really sell right now. You see, Izumi-chan, these are still prototypes, and since I haven't really managed to place seals with just a touch, it is really hard to place them. Producing them is hard and you can still improve them. Izumi mused. Correct, Izumi-chan, Naruto replied while staring at her from the corner of his eye. Now that doesn't mean I can't make some specially for you. The pink once again appeared in her cheeks. Now, well, I quite like that you two are bonding and all, we are still on a mission, so please leave the flirting for later, came the monotone voice of Kakashi. The stare Naruto gave him managed to truly relay its message and make Kakashi's day. It had been an hour after Kakashi blocked him when he felt them. Sincerely, they were doing a really bad job at hiding their chakra and killer intent. He was just going to continue on, what with their horrible stealth skills, but decided against it. Kurama always told him to overestimate his enemies after all. Stopping the group, Naruto turned towards Kakashi and, to the confusion of Team 7 and the client, started making hand signals. Kakashi, though, wasn't really surprised by the blonde knowing Anbu hand language, he had actually expected it. It was nice he had someone to share little remnants of his past life with. 2 chakra signatures 100 meters from here. Possibly enemies. Course of action. We will continue as if we didn't know of their presence. The protection of the client is the most important objective, but their chakra levels are that of Chunin, and I wish to learn who or what is their target. Should we trick them? I'll leave the confrontation to you, but discreetly make a clone and have him henge with Tazuna. When we approach them, make the clone Kawarimi with him. Yes, sensei. But that a plume of smoke enveloped the blonde. When it dissipated, a teen smaller than Sakura and wearing neon bright orange appeared. What? Said Tazuna. Diahaha, come on guys. Let's finish this and go back home, I'm starving for some Ichiraku ramen Dadabayo. 4 heads turned towards Kakashi. Well, you heard him, let's finish the mission, he replied as he began walking again, his icha in hand. They had just walked by a puddle when 2 cloaked men with rebreathers jumped out of the puddle and ensnared Kakashi in a shuriken-like chain connected to a gauntlet. Each man possessed one down, started the man with a single horn. 5 to go. Ended the one with 2 horns as they pulled the chain and shredded Kakashi apart like a doll. Kakashi-sensei. Shouted Sakura. Next. They exclaimed, setting their sight on the wide-eyed blonde. As the 2 brothers dashed towards Naruto. Gozu, the one wearing a single horn, felt his instincts flare up. Breaking his dash, Gozu looked towards Naruto carefully, trying to identify the danger he felt. Eyes widening, he added chakra to his arm and harshly jerked the chain, causing his brother to come flying towards him. "What the hell, Gozu?" asked a man's brother, Mizu. "Mizu, that kid, he's dangerous." The blondie, he couldn't finish his sentence as a pair of feet impacted on his face and that of his brother. They crashed against a tree, Gozu's head smashing into the bark and knocking him out. After Mizu regained his bearings, he faced his assailant. Before him stood the black-haired teen with an infuriating smirk. "One down. One to go," said Sasuke. Glancing back to the prone figure of his brother, Mizu felt a grin come to his face. "I'll enjoy tearing you into pieces." Both of them ran forward, kunai clashing with gauntlet. Everything was blurry and to be honest he just wanted to sleep. What the heck woke him up? The clash. Metal against metal. He could remember talking to his brother about the blonde teen and then something impacting with his face. Then came another impact, pain and darkness. Now that he thought about it, still hurt quite a bit. Touching the left side of his head, he found a sticky and somewhat warm liquid coating that side. He placed his hand in front of him trying to figure out what that liquid was. It was still too blurry to recognize him. He tried smelling it. Copper. Iron. He couldn't decide. A mixture, he decided. Then what was sticky, somewhat warm and smelled like a metal? Blood shit. He squinted and blinked. His vision was returning. He decided to remain where he was, no use in giving the enemy any kind of advantage. He glanced towards his own target. The bridge builder was behind the pink-haired and the black-haired girls. No one behind him, and the blonde one was halfway between the girls and the battle his brother had with the other male teen. He could finish the mission. They were too focused on his brother's fight to notice him. It was perfect. He sneaked into the trees and moved towards the back of the group. He moved, his footsteps making no sound. With the back of his target in front of him, Gozu readied his gauntlet. It would pierce the man before him effortlessly, and if he managed to survive, the poison would take care of the job. He was about to strike when liquid filled his mouth. "So your target was Tazuna, huh?" said the bridge builder. Confusion filled him as blood dripped and stained his mouth mask. He looked down. An Injado was piercing his chest. An Injado hold by the bridge builder was piercing his chest, more specifically his heart. Huh? What? How? No, why? Why the heck did the bridge builder had an Injado? How the heck did he manage to get him? What the fuck was happening? You know, had this been any other genin team, heck, had I not been here and you would have been successful. He looked back up. Where the bridge builder once was stood that blonde teen. It was thanks to you that I got experience fighting a real-life enemy who was somewhat on my level. For that I will end it quickly. End it? Lightning coursed through the blade. It hurt, but then numbness started spreading through him. So this was death. It wasn't as scary as he had imagined it. He glanced towards his brother. It seemed everything had stopped when the blonde started talking. Gozu's eyes met Mizu's. "Ah. That was a mistake. Now my last memory of you will be those pain-filled eyes of yours. I am sorry, Mizu, it seems I caused you pain. I will be going first, okay? Gozu. I'll kill you, you bastard." Mizu shouted before dashing towards Naruto. "Mizu, you idiot, look, Kakashi is behind you." Darkness consumed Gozu as his soul departed into the Shinigami's realm. It had been some minutes since he started fighting the black-haired teen. He was infuriating. The kid somehow managed to dodge the majority of his attacks and block those he couldn't. How was he going to kill him if he couldn't hit him? His patience was running thin. Something his brother always chastised him about, actually. He blocked an attack of the kid. Sasuke was it. When he noticed his brother wasn't there anymore. So he was awake. Good, now he could get rid of the bridge builder and help him end this meddlesome kids. He attacked. Again. Another dodged strike. He blocked a kunai. "So your target was Tazuna, huh?" He jumped back, his head following the voice. "You know, had this been any other genin team, heck, had I not been here and you would have been successful." It was the blonde teen, the one who Gozu warned him about, that spoke. "It was thanks to you that I got experience fighting a real-life enemy who was somewhat on my level. For that I will end it quickly." Blondie was holding an Injado. An Injado that was piercing his brother through the heart. His breathing increased. Lightning coursed through the blade. Anger and the sound of his pumping heart. Mizu's eyes met Gozu's. "They killed his brother, they killed his brother, they killed his brother. Gozu. I'll kill you, you bastard." Mizu heard himself shout before his feet moved on their own. Cold metal pierced his head. Then nothingness. Silence filled the clearing as a trembling Tazuna came out of the tree line, followed by a clone of the blonde. Looking around, he saw the three shocked faces of his team and the blonde gently settling down the body his ninjado pierced moments before. The trembling hands of the blonde did not go unnoticed by Kakashi. He decided to deal with Tazuna later. Right now the mental stability of Naruto was his priority. Taking the body of Mizu, he approached the Jinchuriki before settling it down near that of his brother. His hand found its place in Naruto's shoulder. No words were spoken. They didn't need words. Naruto glanced towards Kakashi. After the adrenaline of his first battle and kill settled down, everything came crashing down. He knew what being a shinobi entailed, he knew one day he would kill, yet after he did it nothing. Silence, only memories assaulted him, the words, the shouts of monster and demon that filled his childhood didn't resounded through his head. It was nothing. Naught, nil, nada, 9, 0, zilch, an absolute void. That's when fear started to settle in. Because he didn't feel anything. Why didn't he feel something? Remorse, shock, pain, heck, he would even gladly welcome glee. So why? Why didn't he feel something about his first kill? Why? 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 Why was everything so fucking silent? He could feel his hands trembling and Kurama's words, shouts really, of reassurance. But they were drowned out by the silence. A hand fell on his shoulder, and sincerely if it wasn't for Kakashi, he doubted he would have regained himself before Kurama decided to use drastic methods. He closed his eyes. He breathed. Exhaled. Repeat. The shaking stopped. A nod and a small smile was sent towards the jounin. Kakashi looked back at the bodies. Gozu and Mizu, he thought. If I remember correctly they were Ryushunin from Kiri. Called the Demon Brothers and that they worked for someone. This mission may be getting out of hand. Naruto, these two have bounties. Do you want to deal with the process? It took a moment for the blonde to answer, but Kakashi received a nod of acceptance. It would seem it'll take some time for the blonde to speak again. Turning back to the rest of the team and their client, he glared at Tazuna. It seems we have something to talk about, Tazuna-san. The bridge builder gulped at the man's tone. Mind explaining why two missing nin from Kiri were after your life? Asked Kakashi. Tazuna sighed. It all started when a man named Gato arrived to Wave. And that's the story. If I don't manage to finish that bridge then Wave will fall, said Tazuna. I understand your situation, but you realize, Tazuna-san, that because you lied to us about the mission grade we are in our right, no, in the obligation, to leave you behind and go back to Konoha. Add to that we won't be accepting any more missions from your person, replied Kakashi. Tazuna glanced towards the blonde who was still crouching besides the two corpses. I know, but we didn't have any other choice. Even though we gathered all the money from the village, it only amounted to that of a C rank. Tazuna-san, if you had talked to Hokage-sama I am sure he would have given you different options to pay for the mission and a team qualified to do it. My team is not ready for this and I believe we should turn back, Kakashi said as he glanced towards his three students. I am sorry, Tazuna-san, but as of this moment, we'll do it. 5 heads turned towards the blonde as he stood up. Taking out 2 of the medium-sized scrolls and unsealing from 2 smaller scrolls, Naruto continued. We have already accepted this mission, and it would look bad on Konoha if we were to leave knowing the circumstances they are in. Don't get me wrong, Tazuna-san, we'll still make sure to up the mission payment. He began rummaging the bodies of the 2 brothers. And Naruto, what are you doing? Looking for anything that may be useful, Sakura. He looked at her. They are dead, won by my hands, so I don't think they will need them anymore. But that's desecrating a body. Don't you have honor? She said. Yet, they would have done the same, said Kakashi. Sakura, we are shinobi. We reside in the darkness and get paid to kill and steal. We have no honor to uphold. Finished with searching for usable tools, Naruto used the 2 small scrolls to seal up the bodies of the brothers. Kakashi glanced to what Naruto acquired. The 2 gauntlets with a chain, some kunai and shuriken, 2 rebreathers and some small bottles with a clear liquid but different color caps. He assumed they were a poison and its antidote. Thankfully none of his team got hit. Naruto, are you sure you want to continue? Yeah, I still need to complete a C rank and don't know when else you will be available. Fair enough. Izumi, Sakura, Sasuke, what do you think? Will you try and continue or do you wish to go back? Of course I'll finish it. Answered Sasuke. If Sasuke-kun goes I go. Replied Sakura. Izumi nodded. Ah, you're quite the lucky guy, Tazuna-san, it seems we will continue with the mission. Tazuna bowed, thank you very much. As they came up the beach, Tazuna approached the man in the boat and started talking. He waved at them to come closer. So everything's ready, but there is a slight problem, the boat doesn't have enough space. How many can it fit? Asked Izumi. Well, apart from the driver and me we could probably fit 3 of you. Any more and the boat may turn over or sink. I see, then the other 2 will have to use the 2 rebreathers and swim, won't they? So which 2 of you 4 will be joining me? Asked Kakashi, already sitting in the boat. Sakura grabbed Sasuke's arm and ran to the boat. A shout of protest eliciting from the teen's mouth. Izuna turned towards the 2 remaining teens besides him. So are you going to swim? I mean, the boat can come pick you up in some hours. Naruto smiled at the man. Don't worry, I got it covered. Looking at Izumi he said, smile still present. Sorry for this, Izumi-chan. before sweeping her feet of the ground and holding her bridal style. The girl's blush only managed to brighten the blonde smile before turning towards Tazuna. Done. We are ready to leave. But how are you? His words went silent when the teen started walking over the water like it was solid ground. He wasn't the only one surprised, as the other three genin were eye-wide with shock. Sensei, how is he able to walk on water? Asked Sakura. That is the water walking technique, Sakura, I'll tell you about it later. Replied the silverhead. The girl nodded, still shocked. I am not even going to ask. Said the bridge builder before entering the boat. With a nod to the driver they left to wave. They had been walking for some time in the mist-covered sea. The boat going slowly in order to escape Gato's radar. As they had been at the beginning of their trip, the genin were currently bored. Since the mist was quite thick, they didn't have any visibility. Sakura, with much disappointment, had ended next to the bridge builder. Sasuke sitting beside Kakashi in order to avoid her and have a direct line of sight of Naruto and Izumi, who were walking behind them. She glanced back. To be honest, she was jealous of Izumi. Well, how could she not be? Great looks and skills, intelligent, popular, member of one of the great noble clans, spend most if not every day with Sasuke, lived in the same house as him, most of the male populace madly in love with her, and finally a hot blonde teen carrying her in bridal style on top of water. What's not to envy? In fact, she somewhat resented her. Izumi got everything any girl of their age could ever want and more. It also helped that, in her mind, she had stolen Naruto. She still couldn't truly accept the fact that Naruto never liked her. After all, he had been the only one who had pursued for her attention. Even if he had been annoying, he had been the only one who had made her feel desirable. He gave her the self-esteem she needed to pursue her dear Sasuke-kun. And now there he was, completely ignoring her in favor of Izumi. Worst was that he seemed to be actually getting somewhere with the brunette. If her blushes and Sasuke's current glare were any indication of the blonde's success. He couldn't really believe it. His sister, the only member left of his family, was getting closer to the dope of all people. And he was stuck here. In a boat next to the giggling pervert of his sensei and one of his insufferable fangirls. While his sister was there in the arms of the blonde bastard, being carried princess style of all things. Oh, let's not forget that he was carrying her while walking on water. Where had he learned this and why didn't he know it? I am an Uchiha, I should be the best. How could the shit? Izumi is talking and I can't hear anything from here. It was then that he remembered one of Iruka's lessons on muscle chakra enhancing. Sending a small flow of chakra to his ear, he focused his attention to the walking blonde just in time to hear his answer. Yes, Izumi-chan. Why are you trying to befriend me? He looked at her weirdly. Because I would like to. Her eyes darkened for a moment, it didn't went unnoticed by the blonde. I am not like them, I truly want to befriend you. Them? Thought Sasuke as he saw Izumi flinch. I understand that you are scared, Izumi. She looked up, this was the first time he didn't add a chan to her name. First, your beloved older brother betrays you and kills your entire family, with the exception of your brother and you. Then none of the girls your age dared to approach you out of fear, for being cursed or something like that was it. Finally, when they decided to approach you, it was only for the sake of getting closer to your brother. What? Then came the boys, who only tried to get you for your body, and the political power being with you would give them or their families. It is quite obvious you would try to isolate yourself from everyone. They what? You still haven't told me why you want to befriend me, said Izumi. That's right, why is the dope trying to befriend her? Your eyes, the what? They remind me of ones I used to have. The what? Okay, now I am starting to get confused. It's quite horrible, isn't it? Feeling alone even when you are surrounded by people. It is. Answered Izumi. That is why I want to befriend you. Because I don't like seeing eyes like those on a beautiful woman like you. Naruto said, causing her to blush. But it soon passed as new question and new doubt formed in her mind. Then why? Why what? Why do you flirt with me? Ah, that, he said with a nervous chuckle. That is due to my interesting heritage. Her brows furrowed. You see, Izumi-chan. My family, due to certain events, acquired a Kekkei Genkai of sorts. Instincts stronger than most are part of them, giant supplies of chakra too. Instincts like in Yazuka-san. She flinched as he growled. Never like Kiba. Naruto closed his eyes and breathed. The greatest difference between me, Kiba's family and Kiba himself is that unlike most in Yazuka who are instinctual, Kiba cannot control his own instincts. I'm pretty sure he just doesn't want to, actually. But the two are similar. Sadly, yes. To be exact, it is the instinct to find a mate, a wife in human terms. They urge me into finding the strongest and prettiest so that my offspring have the best genes possible. And it just so happens that you are the only one with those characteristics. So it could be anyone. Yes and no. Kiba, for example, just wants any girl that is pleasing to the eyes and can breath. If he can't get the first one, he will look for the next. My instincts only accept females in a certain criteria, in other words, girls that fit my likes. And I fit. It was a statement. You are the epitome, the blonde replied with a small laugh. So since now you know why I want to befriend and why I flirt with you, let's start over. Hello, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, call me Naruto, please, I don't really like when people I like call me Uzumaki-san. I like ramen, dislike the villagers of Konoha and spiders, my hobbies are training and reading, and my dreams for the future are becoming Hokage and making a group of people proud of me. Your turn Izumi-chan, and please this time don't be as vague as Kakashi-sensei. She gave him a soft smile. My name is Izumi Uchiha. I like my brother and cooking, dislikes are a certain law and eggplants, my hobbies are cooking and watching movies, and my dream is to have a family and learn the truth of that night. A pleasure to meet you Izumi-chan, Naruto said grinning. Well at least he is better than the mutt, was Sasuke's last thought as he ended his eavesdropping. But what did she mean by the truth? They had reached land an hour ago and had resumed their previous positions with Naruto at the lead and Kakashi at the rear. During their travel they had seen the bridge Tazuna was building. Naruto was actually impressed at the old drunk. You sad that your little fun ended. What are you talking about now? By the way, what have you been doing? You haven't talked to me in a while. Sleeping, and I mean carrying the Uchiha vixen bridal style. Really sleeping all this time? And yeah, sure, somewhat disappointed it ended so soon, but well, that's life. Your seal constantly takes away my chakra. It isn't really surprising I will be tired all the time. Of course you were disappointed, I know what you were doing, and I bet she did too. And what could you be talking about? You were pressing her quite tightly to you, her chest touching yours. I am surprised you didn't get a boner actually. First of all, I wasn't trying to feel her up nor make her feel me up. I was simply holding her tightly so she wouldn't slip, you hero fox. Second, I am not a pervert, goddammit. Sure, you're not a pervert. An open one at least, don't worry, you will soon fall to the side Naruto. As if, I will never fall to your Kurama. Yes, in the bushes to your right. Be careful, this one feels as strong as the Cyclops. The kunai suddenly left Naruto's hand, surprising the rest of the group. Sakura went towards the bushes and picked up a white bunny. Glaring at the blonde she shouted, Naruto, what's your problem? Kakashi's eye narrowed at the small animal. White fur, that bunny was raised indoors Kawarimi. Get down. Shouted the jounin as he tackled Tazuna. Naruto and Sasuke doing the same for Izumi and Sakura respectively. They watched as his Zanbato flew over them and lodged in a tree trunk. On top of the sword's hilt stood a shirtless man, wearing grey shinobi pants and white bandages covering the bottom part of his face. A scratched Kurigakur Hideate rested sideways upon his head. Zabuza Mamachi, the demon of the hidden mist. Murmured Naruto. The Kiri Nukenin briefly looked towards the blonde. It seems that the leaf has at least some good genin. Staring at Silverhead, Zabuza let out a small chuckle. I can see why the demon brothers failed. Sharingan no Kakashi, the man with 1,000 jutsu. So you were hired by Gato, Zabuza. Indeed, now give me the bridge builder and I may let you and the brats leave alive. No can do. Naruto, you're in charge. Protect the bridge builder at all costs. Hi, the four genin said as they surrounded Tazuna. Such a pity, said Zabuza as the mist around them became thicker, impeding their vision. Kidneys, lungs, liver, brain, spinal cord, jugular vein, clavicular vein and heart. 8 different ways to kill you, what should I choose? Was heard around them as killer intent was blasted from the mist. What is this feeling? It's hopeless, thought Izumi sweating profusely. I don't want to die, Sakura thought, her legs trembling as she closed her eyes. I can't stand this anymore. I need to end it. Thought Sasuke as he pulled a kunai and aimed it at his neck. He felt a hand grab his arm. Following it up he saw the calm face of the blonde. Don't worry Sasuke, I won't let anything happen to any of you. Said Kakashi revealing his Sharingan. The Sharingan, so you are taking me seriously Kakashi? Sadly it's over. Said Zabuza as he appeared behind the bridge builder, his sword raised. Before he could bring it down an ninjato pierced his stomach, making the man turn into water. The Mizu Bunshin, said the blonde. Thanks for heads up Kurama. You're welcome, but you need to get rid of the mist. I could only sense him because he was so close. Yeah, I also doubt my mask would be of help right now. I see, so Blondie is a sensor and a strong one at that. Sounded the voice of Zabuza through the mist. You said it yourself, the leaf has some good genin. Replied Kakashi in monotone. Too bad their jounin are not to par, was the response as Kubakirabacho pierced the silver head chest. Only for him to turn into water. So he managed to copy my jutsu, thought the bandage man as he jumped backwards. Only for Kakashi to appear behind him and cut his neck open. Like before, the man turned out to be a water clone. As the two high-level shinobi continued their battle of water clones, Naruto started going through hand seals at a fast pace. Reaching the last one he looked back at the rest of his team. I'm going to blast away the mist, prepare yourselves, Ton. To Topa. With that the blonde created a powerful gale that blasted away all of the chakra-laced mist. The fight between Kakashi and Zabuza came to a halt when the mist was cleared. Standing atop the water, Zabuza looked at the blonde with narrowed eyes. That brat, his gaze returned to the copy ninja. Oi Kakashi, that blonde brat of yours, what's his name? Naruto Uzumaki, Kakashi answered. Uzumaki, that explains some things. Though his appearance doesn't really match, his actions are proof enough. It was actually a bit worrying for Zabuza. Of course he knew of the Uzumaki, they were Kiri's version of the civilians Bujiman or the Kiroi Senko for Iwa. The tales of the second great shinobi war veterans that managed to survive the assault on Yuzu still made him tremble. Then came the third great war and with it Konoha's Red Death. The last known member of that accursed clan, Kushina Uzumaki. He never met her, but he had seen what was left after one of her battles. At the end of that day, the team captain for that mission decided it was a waste of time trying properly assemble all of the bodies. If this kid was her son, May needed to know this. You're distracted, he heard Kakashi whisper behind him. He replaced himself with a log. He created 3 water clones and dashed with them. The first clone lunged, Kakashi sidestepped. The clone was destroyed. The second clone made an upward slash, Kakashi dodged, but the attack managed to raise some water, which distracted the silver head. The third clone took advantage of this and landed a kick. The second clone tried to slash again, but a kunai lodged into his forehead before he managed to hit. The real Zabuza made a downward slash. Kakashi blocked with a pair of kunai. They jumped apart. The clone threw his kubikirabacho. The Konoha Jounin ducked. The clone sprinted towards Kakashi, a moment before arriving the clone exploded into water. The silverhead's eyes widened in recognition when the water that made up the clone moved to form a sphere around him. Zabuza's hand touched the water sphere as he said, Suro no Jutsu. It seems I win, Kakashi said. Jounin, still looking at Zabuza, shouted, Naruto, take Tazuna and flee. His safety is our priority. No can do, Kakashi sensei, after all, one who abandons the mission is trash, but one who abandons his friends is worse than trash. Forget about that. It's not a suggestion, it's an order. The blonde gritted his teeth, and I said that we can't. When we leave he'll finish you off and then come after us, and I know by a fact that once you are down none of us has a chance. He is right, Kakashi, said Zabuza. Only you can stand up against me. The blonde brat could probably stall me, but he would eventually go down, and the rest would be child's play. Kakashi went silent. Naruto and Zabuza are right. Even if they manage to stall him, Zabuza is still too strong for them, damn it. What can I do? At the other side, Naruto was also having a mental conversation. Any luck, Kurama? Yes, it was also on the Forbidden Scroll. The water prison technique makes an inescapable sphere of water around the target. The downsides of it are that you have to keep at least one hand in the sphere at all times. In other words, make him drop the sphere and Kakashi is free. Easier said than done. Time to end this, whispered Zabuza as he created 6 new clones. Naruto followed his example as 18 shadow clones appeared behind him. Sending his clones to battle those of the new Nin, Naruto turned back. Listen, I have a plan, but I will need your help with it. Sasuke and Izumi perked up at that. Unlike her brother, Izumi could accept that the blonde was by far stronger than them. So for Naruto to need their help was quite surprising. Sasuke, you said you brought a Fuma Shuriken, right? Yes, what of it? Do you know the Shadow Shuriken technique? Yes. Good. Now Izumi-chan, Sakura, do you know any side-affecting Jinjutsu? And say I have, answered Sakura. Izumi-san. I may have one, but I haven't really practiced it since I learned it. How long do you think it'll hold? About 30 seconds. It will have to do, said Naruto before hastily turning around and pressing his palms on the ground. A Doton. Doryuheki coming out of his mouth. Just as the wall was raised, a Kubikirabacho lodged itself in it. Naruto peeked through the side. It seemed that one of the Zabuza clone managed to dispatch his team of blonde clones. He created another 3 and sent them to fight the water clone. Sasuke, the Fuma Shuriken. Now. The brunette swiftly passed the weapon to Naruto. The Uzumaki briefly examined it, raised his other hand, and in a plume of smoke, an exact copy appeared. Closing both and handing them back to Sasuke, once receiving them, had his eyes widen as he started to comprehend his teammates' plan. Alright, here is what we will do. First I will stall the water clones with a kunai barrage. Izumi, while I do this you will cast the Jinjutsu. Sasuke, after that you come in, you probably already how it will go down. Ichiha nodded. Then at my mark, with that the blonde jumped on top of the earth wall, 2 clones appearing beside him. The 2 clones took a handful of kunai and threw them before speeding through a set of seals, Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Duoten. Repushu. Came the voice of the original, as the wind propelled the shuriken. The Zabuza clones used their respective Zanbato to block the continuous wind-enhanced kunai barrage. The one who had thrown away his sword was impaled by the shuriken before dispelling. While this was happening, Izumi, hiding behind a tree, her Sharingan active, finished her own set of hand seals before whispering. Chiryoku Yugami no Jutsu. After receiving a signal from Izumi, Sasuke dashed out of the wall's protection, the Fuma Shuriken leaving his hands moments after. Zabuza saw the Fuma Shuriken, but thought less of it. It was almost too late when his instincts flared up and he swung his Kubikirabacho. Due to his sight being altered, Jinjutsu he presumed, his swing was overextended, he managed to block the first, but the appearance of the second created quite a problem. He could only jump. So he did. He really didn't expect the shuriken to turn into the blonde, who was ready to cut off his right hand. Letting the sphere go, Zabuza jumped back a few feet watching as Naruto helped Kakashi to his feet, whispering something to the Silverhead. He then glanced to where his clones were just in time to see the last one being destroyed. Returning his attention to Kakashi, he watched as the blonde went up in smoke. The clone I would really like to take that brat under my command. Too bad I want to kill him even more. Zabuza and Kakashi started going through hand at the same time. Suiton no jutsu. As the two water bullets cancelled each other, the two Jounin level ninja went into a weapon battle, kunai versus Kubikirabacho. Each time they jumped apart they would go through hand seals and perform the same jutsu, be it the water bullet or the water dragon bullet, something that grated Zabuza's nerve. As another round of weapon clashing ended, Zabuza snapped. "That's it." He shouted, speeding through the hand seals for his strongest jutsu, Kakashi starting at the same time he did. To his shock, his own image appeared behind Kakashi, making him falter for 1 second. 1 second Kakashi used with fervor. "Suiton Daibakufu no jutsu," shouted Kakashi before Zabuza could finish the last 3 hand seals of his jutsu. A gigantic wall of water raised before Kakashi before making its way to the shocked stilled Zabuza, washing him away and into a tree. Kakashi took a kunai as he slowly approached the fallen Kiri shinobi. Zabuza weakly looked up before muttering, "Kakashi, can you see the future?" "Yes, and yours is death," responded Kakashi as he raised his kunai. Senbon entered the missing nin's neck before he could finish his strike. "You were right, he is dead," said a masked teen as he landed near the two. Turning to see the blonde member of the Konoha team approaching them, the rest of them following shortly after him. "Yes, but in the future I was the one who ended his life," replied Kakashi. "Sorry about that, but I couldn't let that happen. I have been following this man for quite some time and I didn't want all that time to be wasted." "I see," said Kakashi, eye smiling to the teen and falling back towards Tazuna. "Hey Hunter Nin-san, you don't have a sword?" asked the newly arrived Naruto. "No, since I prefer to use Senbon. A cleaner way of killing," the masked teen said. "Indeed, but how are you going to behead him?" "I could do it for you if you want," replied Naruto taking his ninjato out. "Do not worry, I will dispose of the body after you leave. I don't wish to make newly minted genin to that site." "Oh, I insist," he said before dashing towards the fallen form of Zabuza. He stopped in order to block a hail of senbon. A wind-laced kunai left his hand, targeting the hunter nin who now held Zabuza. It lodged itself deep into the tree as the masked team managed to flee with a shunshin. "Sensei," Naruto said. "Yes, but let's talk after we get Tazuna-san into safety." "Naruto, you are in command and carrying duty," said Kakashi before collapsing into the ground. "Kakashi-sensei," shouted Sakura at seeing the fallen Jounin. "Don't worry. He just fainted due chakra exhaustion, he will wake in some hours," said the Uzumaki as 3 clones appeared and approached Kakashi. The team and Tazuna watched as one of the Narutos turned into a stretcher and the other 2 placed the unconscious man into it. "Alright you 3. Manji formation around Tazuna and Kakashi-sensei, I'll be taking the rear." "Tazuna-san, how long until you're home?" "About half an hour." "Good, let's leave." They arrived to a small wooden house near a forest. They broke formation as Tazuna approached the door and knocked. It was opened by a young, long blue-colored hair woman. Wearing a short-sleeved pink shirt with the end of the sleeves and the collar being red in color, a long blue skirt and apron. "Dad," she exclaimed before hugging the man. "Tsunami. Look, these are the ninja who protected me," Tazuna said, ending the hug and stepping aside to show Team 7. Naruto stepped forward. "Good evening, Tsunami-san, my name is Naruto and I am currently in charge of the protection of your father. Could you perhaps have a spare room where we can place our sensei?" Looking at the silver head in the stretcher carried by 2 other blondes identical to Naruto, triplets, she wondered before saying, "Yes, please follow me." Naruto had gathered the members of Team 7, Tazuna and Tsunami, and sat them in the table. Everyone was silent as they watched the blonde gather his thoughts. "Now that Kakashi is out of commission, I will need to make a plan in order to properly protect Tazuna and his family. I will also have to train Sakura, Sasuke and Izumi-chan. If their reaction to me water walking is any indication, first things first, I need more information about Geto and his forces. I will also need to inform them about Zabuza." He exhaled and opened his eyes. "Zabuza is alive," said the blonde without beating around the bush. "What?" exclaimed Tazuna and Sakura. "What are you talking about, Uzumaki?" "That hunter nin killed him," said the male Uchiha. "Think about what he used to kill him, Uchiha," replied Naruto. As the 3 members of Team 7 thought about the masked teen, Tsunami asked, "Naruto-san?" "Yes, Tsunami-san. Who is this Zabuza you speak of?" "He is a missing nin hired by Geto in order to kill your father," said the blonde as Tsunami covered her mouth in horror. Currently the only one capable of fighting against him is Kakashi-sensei, and well he is currently unconscious. Is he really that strong? Asked Izuna. I mean you killed many of those water clone thingies he created. He is. A water clone has at least a tenth of the original's power. Besides, Zabuza is one of the 7 legendary swordsmen of the Bloody Mist. Swordsmen of the Bloody Mist? Asked Tsunami. They are a group of 7 Kiri swordsmen who each holds a legendary sword. Zabuza carries the Kubikirabacho, and he has quite a scary background. Sasuke perked up at that, scary background. Naruto glanced at him, yes. Remember when I told you that you should be grateful of being born in Konoha? Well, this is one of the reasons why. Kurigakure is also known as the Bloody Mist due to some of their rather gruesome traditions, mainly, the genin graduation test, said the blonde. Which is? Asked Sakura. On the start of their academy days each student is given a partner, who could also be a family member. You would do everything with that partner, eat, sleep, train, work, etc. Finally when you reach your last year and last day of the academy, they give you your final test to battle your partner to the death. No one dared to speak. Zabuza he is quite the special case, you see, he wasn't even an academy student when he went and killed the 100 graduating class students. After that he was accepted into their ranks, and some time later he ended in the 7 swordsmen with the title of the Demon of the Bloody Mist. Now getting back on track, have any of you 3 figured out why Zabuza is still alive? He used Senbon, answered Izumi. And? He replied with a smile. It isn't a weapon that can kill. She answered. Partially correct Izumi-chan. Senbon are indeed not used to kill, since they would need a great amount of accuracy and an extended knowledge of the human body, but they can actually kill. They can also hit a certain group of nerves in the neck to cause something called false death. False death? Asked Izuna. When in that state, the organs and body function cease, making it seem like the target died. When the tool used to cause it is removed the body will restart. Of course this technique is quite risky because if not removed in time it can actually kill you, cause you permanent damage or leave you weakened for quite some time. Explained Naruto. Good news is that we stalled him long enough for Zabuza to be out the game for at least 2 to 3 weeks. They heard a groan and looked towards the door. There stood Kakashi with clear signs of exhaustion. Hey guys, Zabuza is still alive, he said. Already said it sensei, and should you be standing? No I shouldn't, but mission completion and all that. He said before sitting in a chair. Tsunami-san, could I trouble you with a glass of water and some food? A fruit is fine, said the blonde. Oh yes, I'll bring it immediately. She replied before leaving the table. So, Naruto, what's the plan? Asked the Jounin. Learn about Gedo, create security measures, train Team 7, protect Izuna, end the mission. With a side quest of sabotaging and killing Gedo. Said the blonde, the last part surprising Team 7. After all not anyone speaks of killing in such a calm way. Good, it seems I can thank you leave everything to you. He said receiving an apple and the glass of water from Tsunami. Sure, but I have some problems. Which are? I don't have a way of contacting Konoha. Don't worry about it, by tomorrow I should have regained enough of my energy. So I'll deal with it. Now if you excuse me, I am going to sleep. Naruto waited until he heard the door close upstairs. Turning back to Tazuna he said, now Tazuna-sen, I need you to inform me about everything Gedo related. He was awoken by the smell of food. As he raised from the futon, body aching with the effort, he looked out the small window. A rising moon greeted the silver head. It seems I slept quite some time, yet, my body still feels like I have done one of Guy's routines. He stood up. Have to a grown look at Naruto's plan. Can't let him do anything that may go and put him in harm's way. Kushina-sama would revive herself, brutally kill me, revive me, and then skin me alive. He gave a step forward and stumbled, luck being the only thing that helped him grab onto the dresser besides him and stopping his fall. With great effort the Haddock managed to stand up again and go to the first floor. He was guided by the smell of food towards the living room, where he found his team, Naruto, their client, his daughter and a little boy wearing a hat who he assumed was the woman's son. Yo. Sensei, came the greeting of the blonde. Ah. Kakashi-san, please take a seat, I will bring you something to eat immediately. Said Tsunami. Thank you Tsunami-san, said Kakashi. Naruto, can you put me up to date with the complete plan? Naruto put down his chopsticks. As we speak there are 5 groups of clones doing different jobs. Team 1 is currently placing security seals around the area so that none of Gedo's thugs or anyone not presently here can enter as they please. Team 2 is scouting the town and watching any of the goons and their habits. Finally Team 3 is scouting for Gedo's mansion, Team 4 the bandits' base, and Team 5 is looking for Zabuza's hideout. I see, what about Tazuna-sen's protection? I will personally take care of that until you can personally do it. Team 7. I will leave a clone to supervise and help with any training you think is necessary. What about your own training? Clones, was the blonde's response. You got the message for Konoha ready? Yes. Here, Naruto said giving the scroll to Kakashi. Leafing through the scroll, Kakashi nodded to the blonde. "Alright, tomorrow I'll send the message to Konoha." "You shouldn't even try," murmured the boy. Did you say something?" asked Kakashi, turning to the boy. "You shouldn't even try. Scouting. Protecting. Training. Why would it even matter? Gato is going to kill you people," said the boy, now glaring at the silverhead. Naruto snorted. "Got something to say, Blondie?" the black-haired boy said, his glare now focused on Naruto. "I won't die. Much less to someone like Gato. You don't know what you are saying," the kid shouted, slamming his hands on the table. "Inari," reproached Tsunami, Kakashi's food in hand. "It's true. They don't know what they messed in and they will die like him," Inari said before bolting to his room. "Inari," Tsunami shouted before turning to the group of ninja and bowing. "I am sorry, ever since Kaiza died by Gato's hand, Inari has become quite sad and angry." "Tsunami-san, who is Kaiza?" asked Sakura. "He was Inari's stepfather," stated Tazuna, drinking from his sake bottle, eyes lost in happier times. "And this village's hero." They were waiting for Kakashi to come down to start their training. Tazuna and the original Naruto had left early to the bridge. Though, before leaving he had made a clone that made really sure to wake them up. Sakura's hair was still wet. The door opened and the silver head finally came out, crutches holding him up and a small brown dog at his side. "Please take it to Konoha as fast as possible, Pakin," they heard him say. "Don't worry, Kakashi, I'll make sure to hand it personally to the Sandaime," replied Pakin. "Thanks and good luck," he said as the dog left in a dash. "So my cute group of genin, today we will learn how to climb trees." Silence. "Without our hands." He felt a hand placed itself on his shoulder and turned to the Naruto clone, who was giving him a pitiful gaze and a pained smile. "Sensei, stop it and get them to work." The Jounin grumbled. Hi, the blonde said as he approached a tree. "Alright guys, this is called tree climbing, it is quite useful and is considered a chakra control exercise." He started walking the tree vertically and ended his course on the underside of a branch. "This is the exercise before water walking, what I did during the boat ride, Sakura, and it consists of sending chakra to the plant of your feet to stick yourself to the tree. Now go on, start doing it," he said before cutting out his chakra flow and landing on his feet. He watched as the three other teams ran to the tree. Each made a few steps before things went bad for two of the three. At the fifth step, Sasuke was sent flying as the bark exploded, he landed on his back. On her eighth step, Izumi slipped but managed to land on her feet. Sakura managed to reach half the tree, to the same branch where he stood while explaining, and sat down. Signs of fatigue already present. "So Sasuke, if you happen to put too much chakra the bark will explode. Too little and you will slip, Izumi-chan." "Sakura, congratulations, your chakra control is excellent," he said, making the pink-haired smile. "But that is because your chakra reserves are so poor." "Izumi-chan, Sasuke, you too will continue doing the exercise until you master it. Sakura, I want you to run up and down the tree until you get tired. Then you will rest up for 2 minutes, do a set of 10 jumping jacks, and after you will do the process all over again." "And when, dope, is this exercise considered mastered?" asked Sasuke before he darted to the tree once again. "When you can dodge the enemy's kunai while remaining stuck in that tree, or when you are able to fight for at least 10 minutes without falling. If I had known you are as rigorous in training others as you are to yourself, I would have passed my team to you ages ago, Naruto," said Kakashi as he passed a page of his book. "I could actually get used to this. I will talk with Sandaime-sama and ask if I can have you as a co-teacher." The clone sighed. "Please don't. I am only doing this until you are able to do it yourself. The thing is, Naruto-kun, that I don't care about what you think or want." It seemed that even with chakra exhaustion, Kakashi was able to dodge kunes. A Naruto clad in only underpants sat atop a stack of crates as he watched Izuna and some of the villagers work. Behind him, another Naruto was finishing the last details of a seal that spanned from the front to the original's back, running through his arms and legs. "Izuna, can we talk?" came the voice of a worker, bringing upon him Naruto's attention. "Sure, what the problem?" "Izuna, I won't be coming from tomorrow onwards," the worker said. "What's the meaning of this, Kazuo? Why would you leave now?" yelled Izuna. "Because if I don't my family may be harmed." "I am sorry, Izuna, but my family comes first," Kazuo replied. "You know that if we don't finish this bridge there will be no hope for Wave and your family, right?" asked Izuna, glaring at the man. "If things end up too bad we will flee. You should consider doing the same, Izuna, remember what happened to Kaiza," said the man as he turned to leave. "Don't you dare show your face here tomorrow, Kazuo," stated Izuna as he went back to his work. "How many have left?" Izuna glanced at Naruto as he jumped from the crates and started putting on his pants. "Too many," he replied. "And what with the funny tattoos? Resistant seals, or in other words training." Izuna-san, I will be going to the shore over there, I will be leaving 3 clones to protect you and a few more for you to order around with anything you need," Naruto said, placing his hands in a familiar cross seal. "Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." The 103 clones stared at Tazuna, who dropped his tool in shock. "This is a few," exclaimed Tazuna. The blonde smiled. "Kakashi-sensei said it before, didn't he? You are quite the lucky guy, Tazuna-san. Hey Kurama, what level do you think I should start? Before you do anything, create a clone, he will receive his orders from me." Kurama waited for the poof of smoke before he continued. "Now put enough chakra to activate level 3. A burst of chakra and the seals on Naruto's body glowed blue before fading. "Now what? Now comes the fun part," said Kurama as the clone punched Naruto in the face, sending him tumbling to the floor. Naruto was about to stand but couldn't. He decided to try part by part. He could only move some millimeters. "For the rest of the day you will try to stand and go back home and no chakra enhancing until I tell you so." "Well boss, I will go and tell Tazuna that you will be arriving home late. Bye-bye," the clone said before bolting. Naruto cursed. What if Naruto has tobirama water affinity and would? Thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.